Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4Player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Podcast. This is episode 595. My name is Nick Henderson. I'm joined this evening by Christopher Davis.
Hello.
Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
And Christopher Guthridge.
What's up?
We do apologize. We're running. We started the show, or we went live at 7. We're running a little bit later than usual than we were expecting, but we do appreciate everyone who tuned in and hung out with us while we were getting ready. So, without further ado, we have a shit ton of stuff to talk about tonight. We didn't do a podcast last week. We did a community night. But before we get too far into this, I want to... Can you put up the overlay for announcements? I don't know if you have it on there.
We're starting with this.
Yes, I wanted to get this out in the open.
Rip my Band-Aid off, Nick.
Is that what we're doing?
I think I might have missed that one, but
Damn
it's okay.
Chris Davis.
I'll
we are 2 minutes into this show and you've already ruined it. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Anyways,
damn it.
We want to make a quick announcement. A couple things. First of all, I think this is important. I want to get this out front. If you go to 4playernetwork.com, when you have a second, we've made an announcement that we would like everybody out there to be aware of. And it is nothing crazy, but it is something that is probably going to affect...
I mean, I think you'll notice that one person isn't here tonight.
Yeah.
That's fucked up, Nolan. That's fucked up. By the way, Brad is not here. Brad's still in the midst of a... He's still in the midst of a crazy move. So
that was a surprise to me too. So where is Brad?
But we want to tell everybody that going forward we're going to be taking a little bit of a different approach to streaming, and we go into a lot more detail in the post. So if you want to find out about that, please check out the post. Someone can post a link in chat if you're interested in reading it. But essentially, we are not going to be striving to be a daily live stream anymore necessarily. We might still end up being a daily live stream, but
we're probably still going to be streaming most of the days.
Yeah, it's less of a we're not going to be we're trying to not stress ourselves out by adhering to like the super rigid streaming schedule because it's really not necessary, and we want to get back to kind of doing this on our own time and having fun with it and getting more enjoyment out of it, boosting our own morale, so to speak. So we're going to be taking a more stream when we feel like it approach. I do know podcasts will still, of course, continue to be on Thursday nights, which is important. Friday night has always been Brad's like one night he can stream, and he loves that, so he's going to continue to do that. And most of the times we'll be streaming periodically throughout the week, of course, but it's also going to be one of those things where it's like, if I don't really feel like streaming, I'm not going to force myself.
I think one of the prime examples I brought up when we kind of started talking about this was that multiple times in the past few months, there's been like a random Saturday where I was like, I might stream. Then I was like, nah, I got to stream on Tuesday. And then and then it's like, whatever. Yeah. And I just don't do it. And I do feel that if there's less of a that strict schedule, then I might be more up for just like random streams here and there.
Absolutely.
Basically just means the schedule is going to be a little bit more
loosey-goosey.
Fluid.
Yeah. So it's nothing crazy or serious. It's just one of those things we want everybody to be aware of. There might be times where you go a week where you don't really see one of our faces because we just decided we didn't feel like streaming that week. And that's fine. We'll always be here on Thursday recording a show. We will still be streaming when we personally feel like it, and that hopefully is...
I'm sure Brad's Friday stream will still be a pretty consistent hard staple.
Yeah. Brad loves that Friday stream because that's one of his only opportunities he gets, and he loves it. So you can always count on Brad streaming on Friday nights. In fact, he did tell me, even though he's not here tonight because of his move, he does still plan on streaming tomorrow. I think that's his first stream from his new place. Yeah. So he obviously had a very sudden move he had to do. So that is why he is not here tonight. So I just want to get that out there in the open so everybody will know. So if you're listening and you want to know more about kind of the thought going into that, we did make a statement. It's posted on the site at 4playernetwork.com. Check it out. But I don't want that to be a cloud hanging over us or anything. That's just something we want everybody to be aware of.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, I want to say that we are moving forward with the Revival Club, which I'm actually personally super excited about. This is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. We actually did this a long time ago. We did like 3 or 4 episodes. This is like 8 years ago or something. It's basically where we just we pick a game, we play that game, and we talk about it. But we're doing it as more of a community thing. So if you're a supporter of us on Patreon or Twitch, you'll have access to a Revival Club channel in Discord where you can talk about the game we've picked, which we're going to be starting in April, which is Devil May Cry 3. Why are you shaking your head, Nolan? Not going to play Devil May Cry 3 with us?
But better games we could have picked.
There are so many, but you know what? That's the fun of it. Like, I'm super excited for this because
I wanted to start this with a fucking bang, not like a fizzle.
You know, like Ace Combat.
Whoa. Devil May Cry 3 isn't a bang?
Compared to some of the other games we could have done that were
What
suggested on that
What
list.
would you have wanted it to be?
Go.
Any of those RPGs on that list would have been much better.
Oh,
you know what?
Like Suikoden?
Yeah, like Suikoden.
Well, this is the fun part, because every time we do this, we're going to play the game over the course of like a month, maybe 2 months, depending on the length of the game or whatever. There's no pressure to finish the game. Everybody should just be playing it together on their own time, talking about it in Discord, and then I'll put together a bonus podcast. We'll talk about the game at the end, and then we'll move on and we'll do it again. Hopefully it's an opportunity for people to play new things, to maybe replay things that they haven't had a chance to in a long time. Should be a lot of fun. I personally haven't played Devil May Cry 3 in like, I don't know, a decade, so I'm pretty excited for it.
I'm excited for Devil May Cry 3.
You gonna play Devil May Cry 3?
I think I will.
Fucking do it.
I think I will.
Should we sometime do like a bad game revival club? Like we pick out a really bad game we played over the course of a month.
We could do Devil May Cry 3.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck off, Nolan. Oh, my God.
I was like, maybe Devil May Cry 2.
I did. You know what? Those
Those
are the inspired choices. Like, there's a bunch of games that I've been thinking about lately that I was like, I don't think anyone will ever pick these or vote for them, but I'm going to put them out there because I want to play them. I'm not going to name any of those right now, but I nominated a couple in the nominations channel in Discord if you want to find out what I'm talking about. But anyways, enough about that. If you're interested in playing Devil May Cry 3 with us, you can have access. You can play along with us even if you're not a paid supporter, obviously. But if you want access to the Discord and you want to be able to contribute to the conversations we have in the bonus podcast and whatnot, you have to subscribe to us on Twitch or pledge to our Patreon at $3 tier or higher. And if you want to do that, you can find us at patreon.com/4Player. But enough about that. We have a lot to cover on this show. A lot of ground to cover.
It sucks that the first time we took a week break between podcasts,
So much
a
shit
shit
happened.
ton of stuff got announced and like big games came out. So yeah, there's a lot going on.
You know what I am excited about? Everybody in this cast has been playing Sekiro, right?
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Very, very excited to talk about Sekiro. We'll get to that in a minute. Of course, I want to read some feedback from our last episode. Our first bit of feedback comes from Thorax. He says, my co-op friend and I have the opposite opinion of Nolan regarding Resident Evil 6 and 5. We loved 6 and hated 5.
What?
That is bizarre.
What?
6 definitely is no perfect game, but we accepted for what the game was and had a blast playing it. The story and gameplay became so ridiculous that it became awesome. Leon rides a fucking zombie shark, for God's sakes.
Spoilers.
Did he ride it? I don't think he rode it.
He got
I don't
stuck in
remember
its
that.
mouth.
Oh, right. That's so stupid. I'm sorry.
That was kind of right.
Who is this?
Leon.
Oh, Thorax.
Oh, Thorax.
Add Thorax to the list.
He goes on to say, Nick, Nolan, I think if you turn your brains off while playing Resident Evil 6, you can enjoy it. You know what? I don't disagree with you. The problem is, I don't want to play 4 campaigns or about the length of your average Resident Evil game in this. Like, it's probably too much. They try to do too much in that fucking game. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. I still don't get why you hated 5. I feel like if
Maybe
you like 6, it's kind of...
I wonder if they played 6 and then went back and played 5.
It's possible.
Because that might affect.
That might hurt.
If they had never played a co-op Resident Evil game before and they fell in love with 6 and then they went to 5 and it was like, that different.
The thing is, like, 5 does the inventory swapping. Like, I mean, it does the inventory swapping. 6 doesn't even do that.
Yeah.
Which is like
bad.
half of what makes that game
Nobody
so
loves a
incredible.
game specifically because of its inventory.
That
might
Evil 4,
that might be a
Evil
contributing
4.
factor to why you like the game, but nobody was like, I was really on the fence about that game until the inventory was awesome.
I feel like that's usually the case.
That's insane. Insane people are like that, Nick.
Well, think about Resident Evil 4, man. That's what all people talk about is the fucking inventory system.
But
in that game.
that's like
I don't.
That's a point. That's like something you can point to. That's like, this is a really nice feature. This is one thing that game did better than other. But if that game had sucked in every regard except for that inventory system, people would not be talking about that inventory.
But also, maybe 5 isn't really about the inventory system per se. It's about the mechanic of having to manage that inventory between 2 players without pausing the action is what makes it.
I think it's a realistic case, Crispy, in the sense that you're in combat and it's like, oh shit, I'm out. Throw me a clip, and you can do that. In 6, it's like, oh shit, I'm out.
That's
I guess
so
I'll punch a
beside
zombie.
The point. That is like not. I'm not arguing that it's a bad system, and I'm not arguing that it's not a better system in 5 than it is in 6. I'm just saying that like that alone does not a game you love make.
It also sounds like he...
What other feedback did we get, Nick?
Oh, sorry. It sounds like he just likes shark jumping. Anyways, Fourth Horseman says, well, the way Resident Evil 6 was described makes me 110% more interested in giving it a try. I'm not sure the tone they are going for, but it sounds ridiculously stupid in a good way. Also, judging by the podcast name, I had a feeling I knew how that conversation was going to go, and I was not disappointed. My thought? A straw has 2 holes. Yes, it's a tunnel, but a tunnel is merely a path between 2 holes.
It's not wrong.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's...
Fair enough.
So
I forgot where we fell in that conversation. Like where
Wait, was that a conversation about straws having 2 holes?
Yes. Yeah, the
Wasn't
question
it the
was,
title of last
somebody
week's show?
asked. Yeah, somebody asked, "Do straws have holes?" Because if you say there's a hole in my straw, you usually mean there's liquid leaking out of it while you're trying to use it.
I mean, in that instance, you're equating a hole to a threshold.
So is your mouth to your butthole a straw?
Moving on. Fuzzy Turd says,
definitely a tube
I mean,
that runs through a few different sacs.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Wow, what colorful language you picked. Fuzzy
nearly
Turd.
50 feet of intestine.
Fuzzy Turd has our last bit of feedback tonight. He says, this is a little late, but I'd like to thank y'all for speaking so highly of Hollow Knight. I have never really been a fan of Metroidvanias at all. I bought Hollow Knight when it was on sale, and I regret it. I should have bought it full price because, good lord, it's one of the best games I've ever played. Nearly 50 hours in, and I am not even close to doing everything to keep up the great work.
Yeah.
That is all true. That game is incredible.
It's fantastic. I've bought it twice.
Although you say I should have bought it at full price, the crazy stupid thing about Hollow Knight is that didn't it release at $15 or something?
I believe so. And
It
then,
was never
it
like
was
a
either 15 or
$60.
20. And then when they released the physical edition, I think it was like 30 with like
I
the
have
little
I have
figurine or
officially
something.
triple dipped on Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
I bought it on PC, Switch, and then they did the special edition for the Switch, the physical edition, which comes with all kinds of crazy shit. And I didn't even hesitate. That game is worth every penny.
Oh yeah.
This is the 47th time we've praised Hollow Knight on the show.
It's not enough yet.
And it's not going to stop.
We still
that is true.
Keep going.
So thank you guys for your feedback. Of course, if you're listening out there and you want to say anything or chime in on anything regarding the conversations we have on the podcast tonight, please head on over to 4playernetwork.com, drop us a comment, and we will read it at the beginning of the next show. And with that said, let's talk about fucking Sekiro.
Oh.
Because holy shit, this game that's not.
Has someone been playing that?
Yeah, this is one of those rare instances where everybody on the couch has been playing it.
Crispy, how many hours are you in approximately?
I don't know.
It's one of those games.
It feels like 1 million.
2 hours?
I guess
3 hours.
The better way of putting it is maybe
Wait,
like
keep going. No, I'm gonna go back.
Yeah.
How long?
I mean, it's got to be under 5.
Okay, I was just
Okay.
curious.
Gotcha.
I think
really don't know.
Steam has me at around 10. So I mean, I like it's hard to judge this game because I don't want to say like how close to the end because I've seen like I was looking at like how long to beat or whatever other website. And it's like it's like between like 20 hours and like 60 hours. Like it's like the ranges.
But you're also
are so
seeing a lot
big.
of like people who are playing it early who have already beaten this game or people who are like already like really probably experienced.
I understand that, Nick. I'm just saying like that's why I'm not saying I don't think this is a 20-hour game. I think it's probably closer to a 40-50 hour game, but once again, I think it also depends on the person because I think I've played for longer than you, but I think you're farther than me because I've been exploring every fucking nook and cranny of this world.
I don't want to talk about timing for too long, but like based on
I know.
just my general like record keeping myself, I'm at about 16 hours. But I spent 2 hours of that last night fighting the same mini boss over and over and over
Which
and
one?
over
Yeah.
again. You haven't reached him yet. He's in the castle, and he's literally just a dude in a dojo. And of course, he probably wasn't that hard in the grand scheme of things. People, I already had people on Twitter like, "Oh yeah, he was kind of tough. Beat him on first try though."
Yeah, I fucking.
That was Burnsy that said that, by the
Dude,
way.
I'm
Fuck
like-
you, Burnsy.
I'm like
Yeah.
like people on Twitter are talking about this game. My friends outside of the podcast community are talking about this game, and like every conversation's always like, I fought the same troll for 15 hours, and they're like, oh, that guy was hard. I beat him on my first try.
Welcome. I feel like, yeah.
I'm like, fuck you.
Welcome to the Souls
Yeah,
community.
It's definitely a
I
Souls
know, but it's just like, oh.
But you know
That's
what?
half of your replies with the Souls game are always going to be
stop.
get good scrub.
It's
But-
always like, yeah, I don't know. It's, yeah.
But you know what? You know what I love about the Souls community, though? Or, like, maybe it's more of our community, or, you know... When you're talking to people, even if you're talking to people who are better at the game than you, like last night I was in Discord talking to people while in between dying on this boss, or this, not even boss, like mini boss, over and over and over again. And people were trying to give me tips and like asking how I was doing it. And I was like, well, that didn't work for me, blah, 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 blah. And I finally did it. And people were like, good job, Nick. You fucking nailed it. And I was like, but I was talking to people who had, you know, they were like, I didn't really have much trouble with that. Mm-hmm. So it's like when you find a good community of people who like are excited about the game, it really doesn't matter if you're good or bad or whatever.
Sure.
So you know what's good, Nick?
This game?
The fucking verticality of this game.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. Like, so Dark Souls had some verticality to it, but it was always you could fall down and then spend 15 minutes getting up. Mm-hmm. Whereas I love the fucking grappling hook in this game. It is amazing.
Dude, jumping around and like grappling on shit and
the mobility,
sneaking around, like everything about like moving in this game is so fucking fun.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
I'm a little bummed that like, I mean, this is not even really a gripe. I see why they did it, logistically speaking or mechanically speaking, but like it's kind of a bummer that like you're kind of limited to where you can latch onto things with your grappling hook.
Yeah.
But not by much. Like you can.
There's a lot of points.
It's very the little green dot that kind of signals where you can latch onto things is actually super well designed and like really intuitive, and like you get to a point where you're literally like, it's like you're Spider-Man. You're like grappling between buildings like super fast, which is awesome. Don't stop for a second to kind of like think about how you're able to like go from the ground to like swinging in the sky super fast. It's kind of bizarre, but if you turn that part of your brain off, don't worry about it. It's super fun. But I just love the feeling of going from the ground to the roof.
Well,
and then, like,
one of the things I like about that, and I was kind of talking with you a little bit before the podcast about it, Nick, is that like this game. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a Souls expert. I'm not Jaeger here. But what I will say is that I feel that this game, in combat, you have many more ways to interact with enemies than you did in a Souls game. If not alone that, it's not just me rolling to dodge. You can roll, or you can jump, or you can counter, or you can parry. There's all these different ways you can interact with an enemy. But sometimes I definitely feel like I've been in situations where I get overwhelmed. I'm like, oh shit, there's like 5 dudes. I kind of need to reset. And the ability to just fucking grappling hook out of there, if I'm near a thing, just like, fuck it, just reset and let me get out of here. Let me hide for a second. And let me drink from my flask. And you know, reset.
At times, it almost feels unbalanced in that regard.
To an extent,
you're able to just run away like that.
But the game is also like pretty punishing to the point where like that. I feel like that is.
Oh yeah, a single enemy in this game will kill you.
I kind of thought what you were saying, Chris, but like there was definitely a boss where like it was one of those 2-hitter bosses. Like you have to get 2 execution kills on it to actually kill it. And like I spent forever working on the first one, and then I got him down to the last dot, and he was fucking me up, and I fucking like grappling hooked away, and then I came back and he fully healed.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about like the standard minions, like what we're seeing right now.
Yeah,
but that is the thing. Like if your plan is to if your plan is to like death blow like a mini boss and then run away and come back and try and stealth get the second one via stealth attack,
it's like
it
you got to do that the other way. You got to stealth kill him the first time, or stealth get the execution, and then run away. Sorry, then kind of reset.
The thing is, if you wander too far out of
you can't wander too far. But I'm saying it's easier to get that first stealth kill instead of trying to whittle them down first. Yeah, because then you're kind of interacting with them with you only have to get that one kill.
That boss that I was struggling with, I keep saying boss, that like
mini boss.
Literally it's like a
mini boss.
There are a bunch of mini bosses in this game that you fight to get prayer beads, which you use to upgrade your vitality. So they're very, very important. And I'm very, very stubborn. So like I was like, I'm not leaving this. I'm getting this fucking prayer bead. So like I spent 2 hours last night doing this, and for the first hour, I swear to God, I didn't even get the first death blow in. I could not get the timing down. I could not get the dodge timing down, and I was like, the most I think I did, I got him down to like a fourth of his health on the first health bar, and that was a real bummer. And then I finally got that first death blow, and I was like, yes! And then I was like, wait, fuck, I still got to do this. Like, I got to keep going.
Yeah.
I got to keep going, or this is going to be for nothing.
The problem with that boss in particular is that I think he's the first one in the game in which you cannot get initial stealth death blow on him.
Yeah, because he's literally, you walk into the room and he's like looking at you. So
I mean, there's actually a way around him to sneak behind him, but as soon as you enter the room, he automatically knows you're there.
yeah.
So, you guys are farther than I am in the game, so talk to me a little bit about a couple of these systems that I'm, like, just finding out about.
Okay.
And so, like, first of all, the prosthetic tools.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I've got the shurikens, and that's like okay. I just got the fucking cannon, like the fire.
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Oh yeah, the
I
firecracker.
didn't use that one a
yeah,
whole
the fire
lot.
barrel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one's pretty useful, Nick.
Because there's
if-
like enemies that are weak to
there's
fire.
enemies that are weak to fire, but I've used the combo of throwing oil at them and then use that. Then now they're on fucking fire and they're freaking out, and you can get a few good slashes in.
Yeah.
And then they're taking the burn damage. Crispy.
Have there been any like
yeah,
other cool
so one of the cool ones
I mean,
that
I
I
have, like,
have
5
is
right
the
now.
axe.
The axe is
Essentially,
that.
it's essentially like the
To, like,
Bloodborne thing. So you
break,
fling out
yeah.
the axe and then you do a slice at him, and it's good for enemies with shields.
Wait a
Or
second.
it's what's up?
There's an axe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've
it's
got
an
5
axe
of these
arm.
things, but I don't have an axe yet.
And
So
I've
you-
seen that
you
one.
went
It
to
breaks
the-
shields.
Okay, I don't think Nick's far enough. I think it's in Harada.
But I'm farther than.
Yeah,
oh,
it's in
okay.
the
It's a
Harada
little bit
state.
farther in Harada.
Yeah.
Well, what
Um,
do you have then? You've got the shurikens and the fire.
The
thing.
shurikens, the spear, the fire.
I don't have a
thing.
spear.
What's a spear?
I don't know the spear.
It's like it shoots a spear out of his arm.
I mean, it's kind of just. I mean, yeah, it's just like a. I don't think he. I don't actually know where it comes from. I think it like sits on his arm and he folds it out and then like
Yeah.
thrusts it forward.
That's cool.
Which is really good for like damaging their posture if you can get a good hit in. I got firecrackers.
I got the
which are-
firecrackers.
which are very very important.
I got the raven's feathers.
I got
I
that.
have that
yesterday.
What's that do?
That's-
I haven't tried that yet.
I tried it on a boss and it's pretty cool.
It's like the like kind of smoke to kind of
You use it, and then like your next. The way I understand, like you use it, and then if you do a dodge within a very short proximity of time to using it, he'll like vaporize through enemies. So I'm not entirely sure how it works yet because I haven't used it very much. But it seems like that one might be the
It's
most
like for
skill based so
repositioning or
far.
something.
Yeah, it's like it's based. I feel like it kind of gives you like a freebie if someone goes in for an attack. It makes it really easy to
Get out.
get out of that situation, which is very valuable in the
That does
in the
sound
castle.
really cool. I could probably.
So,
do something like that.
But
besides
what was the other
I was
one?
just gonna say before we get too far, what really kind of blows me away because going into this, I didn't really know what to expect because it's a From Software game. But you know, when Crispy and I saw this at E3 last year, and
Yeah.
they were talking about how it's not a Souls game and
Yeah.
like it's not an RPG, and I was like, what does that mean exactly? Like, I kind of get the feeling that, okay, there's not going to be stats. Okay, I get that. And for the most part, there really aren't. You have vitality, and that's about it. But you know, you're not micromanaging your stats like you are in a Souls game or Bloodborne or whatever. And I wasn't sure how that was going to affect gameplay. But like they've straight up made an character action game here.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty.
That still feels and plays with that same sense of like satisfaction.
It definitely feels like a Souls game.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that I'm scared around every corner.
Yeah, I remember like a lot of people in that room when we were in that demo. They were talking about it not being a Souls game, and I think a lot of people were hearing like it's not as complex as a Souls game,
Yeah.
and like that's definitely not.
I
the
think
case.
it's more
No.
complex.
Like-
I think it's in between a Souls game and Neo.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
as complex as Neo with your different stances and all that. Neo had a lot going on. I think this is kind of in between the two. That there are still different ways there's more ways you can interact with enemies, and you know, you unlock your skills, and like one of the ones you saw me do a minute ago, Crispy, I don't know if you have this one yet, the Makiri counter.
Oh yeah.
Oh, where you
Yes.
step on the.
Do you have
the
that one
spear?
yet?
Yeah, I just got it.
That one's fucking invaluable.
Yeah.
It is so good that anytime an enemy's charging at you, you could literally just step on. It's not even just spears; it's swords too.
yeah.
You can step on it and you get like a fucking
If it's
hit
a
in on
thrust
it.
attack,
as long as
like-
it's a thrust attack, correct?
Everyone I've been talking to about this game has been like, "Yo, that Makiri counter."
Dude, it's so good.
Like-
But yeah, there's the fact that you can get all of these different, you know, skills and abilities, and there's multiple. Crispy, there's skill trees for your prosthetic arm that you'll get to, and there is like so much you can do in this game to expand the character and kind of go down the lines of the. I mean, I think I would akin it to the different weapon types in a Souls game where you pick up, you
Yeah.
find different weapons in the world. And, I want to use this one.
Yeah.
Well, this one obviously you have. I don't know if you get something besides your katana at some point. But
I don't think you do.
Yeah, I know you have your prosthetic arm.
Yeah,
which
it's only
kinda
upgrades.
Well, the reason I think that, Nick, is just because on the bottom right you see a katana symbol.
Oh yeah, maybe.
That's why I assume that maybe at some point you might get something else.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would that symbol be there?
Like, why are they denoting that you
like
have
there's
a
there's an
katana
umbrella
equipped?
thing I know about.
Unless you get
but-
like a better upgrader. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
it's so-
Okay, what about Dragon Rot? Let's talk about Dragon
Oh,
Rot
God.
for a second. What's up with Dragon Rot?
Okay,
Dragon Rot is this game's version of humanity.
Okay, I get
Kind of,
that.
It's
but,
also-
like,
it's also-
I've heard that it's like really fucking bad. to
Okay, so
get,
one thing you're
right?
trading. So the other thing that kind of makes this not a Souls game is, and I keep forgetting this is even a part of it.
It's
is the fact that
important.
you're not when you die, you're not going back to collect.
You don't
your
have a
souls.
soul stain.
That whole mechanic is gone. You don't have a
Yeah.
soul stain.
If you die, it's all gone.
So
You lose
Or it's
half.
part of,
You lose half of whatever isn't complete. So you have your level. So you essentially have a level of souls, I guess you could say. I don't know what they refer to them as in this, but you have that build up.
Oh,
so
your
you have that-
skills.
your
Skill
skill,
point.
your skill bar. And if
Yeah.
that skill bar is not complete, if you haven't gone on to the next section, you lose half of whatever is in between.
you can't lose a skill point though, right?
Correct. You can't lose a skill point.
Yeah.
You can only go down to that 0 marker of if you have 500 points to your next skill point. If you're at 499 and you die, you lose like 249.
You also lose half your
and
cash.
you lose half of your cash, which is a much bigger fucking deal because there is a lot to spend cash on in this game.
Mm-hmm.
All of your prosthetic limbs take cash to upgrade, as well as like harder
That's
to find
funny,
like
'cause
materials.
I don't think I've really bought much of anything in this game so far.
Maybe because you don't have any money because you keep
That-
dying.
that's
I don't know.
definitely a
I've been in
possibility.
positions where like I had to buy the fucking whatever those token things are that let you use the prosthetic.
Oh yeah, the
the spirits.
spirits.
Oh yeah,
Spirit,
the spirit emblems.
memory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. those
So
are.
the spirit emblems are tied to you have to use spirit emblems to use your prosthetic in combat. Let me just tell you this. There was a point where I had 280 spirit emblems in my inventory.
Jesus.
I did that fight last night. When I ended, I had 76.
Wow.
So that just gives you an idea there. But the Dragon Rot. So when you die over and over and over again in this game, instead of taking, in addition to taking half of what you have,
Yeah.
it also starts to
Like all your NPCs get sick.
Yes.
yeah. Well, it's actually not when
Yeah.
you die. It's specifically when you resurrect.
Okay.
So if you resurrect over and over again,
So
because-
resurrecting is the like.
By resurrecting, you're taking the life essence of other characters that are infected with Dragon Rot.
So it's better. So I mean, is the trade-off literally just like you're hurting your NPCs, but you don't have to restart this level again or this fight again?
kind of, and
Or
that's-
is there another benefit to resurrecting that trades that off? Or like, should I just not be resurrecting?
Here's the thing, I think that's one of the areas where this game maybe fumbles a little bit because as far as I can tell, unless NPCs can straight up die and you can lose access to them, the only thing that you actually lose is your the percentage chance of getting assisted aid.
Unseen aid.
Unseen aid,
right.
which-
So Nick, I agree with Green.
Which lets you
Goddamn. I
die
think it's when
without
you
losing
when
half
you
of yourself.
die, that's when it hurts other people. I think when you resurrect, it's fine.
So resurrecting keeps you from.
No, it's because when you resurrect, you the trade-off is you are resurrecting yourself by taking life essence
Okay.
from other people.
And not just like resurrecting when you're in combat like this.
Deputy
Also,
Gangle
when
says
you're
the same
resurrecting
thing.
from a loading screen, like
Fully dying
every
card.
single resurrection you do is slowly filling that Dragon Rot unseen meter.
Deputy Dangle says it's the other way around, but I kind of don't believe him. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert in this game by any means.
So if you
But I
kept,
thought that's why like resurrecting was so valuable.
well, see, that's the thing though. If you keep dying and you resurrect yourself in combat, you're just increasing the spread of the Dragon Rot twice as fast.
We're gonna have to do some more research on this.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. Let's not worry about it. But
It is an interesting
But
mechanic.
So
what I
later
guess what I
on-
was getting at is that like doesn't this like close out
So later on,
features of the game?
later on,
Yeah.
you'll get an item/ability to kind of cure the Dragon Rot.
Yeah, you
but
get the blood samples.
Yeah,
and
they're
what's
limited
it is.
in number though.
and they
The
cost
doctor makes-
money.
yeah, so you
That being said, they're not that expensive.
if you have money.
But I mean, like, isn't there like a bad ending if you end the game with too much dragon?
Oh, I haven't even
I
started
have
to
no
think
idea.
about the ending yet.
Supposedly, yeah, there's multiple endings.
But I'm wondering if that's the kind of thing where, like, if you get towards the end of the game and then just as long as you make sure you cure all the Dragon Rot before you go in for the final boss, like, maybe it won't be an issue.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. 'Cause I would be really, like, I would feel a lot more weight on the making the decision to resurrect if it was like, if I do this too much, I could literally risk like an NPC who like sells me stuff like literally dying.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be big, but as far as I can tell, it just makes them sickly, and I'm not sure what other impact that's like. You can literally see it in the world. You walk up to a merchant and they might be like coughing.
But sometimes they get so sick they can't do any. The sculptor can get sick enough that he can't like upgrade your arm anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
See,
didn't know
there's
that.
that.
Or for example, early on in Ashina Castle, you come across this old blind woman.
Yeah.
And she gives you a bell because she thinks you're her son.
Yeah.
You take that to the Buddha temple, and that
By
gives
the
you
way,
access
she
to
is
Rada
very
State.
blind because her son is literally
like
20
30 feet from
away.
her. Yeah.
Well, she's infected with dragon rot.
yeah.
And so if you keep dying, you'll come back to her eventually, and she's just crawling on the ground, just like barely breathing.
But what does that do? I mean, that's
does she
good world building. I like what it does for the lore, but like, what does that mean for me if I can just fix it by using an item? You know what I mean?
So hold on. Let's talk about one thing that's kind of bullshit in this game.
Okay.
When I was in Harada Estates, I've been playing this game for a while now.
Yeah.
I was getting mad because I wasn't exactly having an easy time. And I had no skills. And I think I had like 5 skill points.
Yep.
And I was frustrated because I was like, why can't I use these skills? And then I finally died for the first time. And the game was like, oh, now you can use skills. And I was fucking mad.
Wait, what?
So you don't actually learn how to use the skills until you die and are brought back at the shrine.
Yeah.
But because I didn't die until I was already like halfway through Harada Estates, I had all these skill points saved up.
Wait, you didn't die when you fought that one boss?
Sorry,
in the field?
you died that one. But they don't
you have
teach you
to die
use-
again
You have to
before?
die a
Oh,
second
that's
time
right.
before they teach you about skill points. And I was so fucking mad because I was doing too good. I didn't get to use my fucking skills.
Well,
Has anybody beaten that one
I'm sure
cinematic
they
boss,
have.
or like does the game
No, I'm sure
make
you can.
it so that
I'm sure you can.
wait, which
There's-
cinematic boss?
At
when
the very
you're
beginning of the
like
game.
escaping with the
Shinichiro?
kid in the beginning, and you go to that like
Shinichiro?
white field and that samurai boss is there?
I'm sure you can. I'm
was-
sure you can.
I mean,
kill him.
he fucking
Oh, he's rough.
stomped me.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first boss of the game, and you have no idea what the hell you're doing.
But I'm sure it's one of those scenarios where
Kenton
it's
says
like,
you can beat the tutorial boss.
yeah, but I'm sure it's one of those scenarios where
But
like,
he
it's
wins
cinematically, I'm sure he still like wins in the end
fuck outta
because he has to. But I'm sure you probably can beat him, and I don't know what you get for it.
I would like
but
to know
mean,
what the win condition is. So,
kill him.
The win
Yeah,
condition.
yeah, it is.
The
I mean,
shit.
there's health bar.
there are people now that are beating this game in 1 hour.
Well, of course.
That's crazy, but that's to be expected.
Are
I
they
mean, it's
doing
one,
it
of those,
with
it's one of those
Guitar
scenarios where it
Hero
doesn't really
guitars?
matter.
Yeah.
All you have to do is counter, parry,
Donkey Kong
slash, and just get
bongos?
timing
Nolan
right.
brings up a good point though, and I kind of wanted to try this out. So, like, what if we each go around and we say one thing we think that this game is doing really well, and one thing that we think it's not doing so well?
Okay.
Nolan
Uh-huh.
would probably be. Would your not very well be that they don't introduce
Well, yeah,
skills?
I think that like the kind of tutorial kind of teaching you how to. Don't get me wrong. I understand games can't throw everything at you at the very beginning. They kind of got to slow it down.
But you think the brakes are on a little too hard?
Yeah, it would have been nicer if I unknowingly was doing too well that the game didn't give me skills, so I had a harder time because I had no fucking skills. But anyway, what the game's doing well is, dude, just the ability to traverse the world. Like I said, just the ability to grapple on edges or like climb on them. The fact that I can't accidentally walk off an edge, that I won't fall to somewhere that's safe. So if you're on like the edge of one of these buildings, it will let you walk off. But that's because there's something below you. But if there's like a world-ending edge, like there's abyss below, you can't walk off on accident. There's an invisible wall. I really like that. You can't even like dodge off on accident. I really like that game did that, and obviously that was a smart decision and a known decision because they knew you were going to be exploring the world a lot.
But on top of that, you can leap off into those abysses where you would usually die, and you won't die.
So that is the other nice thing is, yeah, you don't die. when
Oh
you
yeah,
leap
it's
off.
kind
You
of
just lose a bunch of health.
It's like if you fall
Yeah.
into a pit in like Hollow Knight and then
Oh,
it
and
just
they
fades
just,
to
like,
black and
reset
it puts
you.
you right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I like most about this game is just how you traverse the world.
Cool. Chris?
I would say a mixed bag thing I have is the stealth system. Because it works when it kind of wants to, but once you're detected, enemies almost always know where
They just
you
know
are.
where you are.
They do
Yeah.
know where you're at.
And you
yeah.
really
There's
can't
no
like
like
hide
break
again.
line of sight kind of thing.
Well, there
Like,
is.
can't
You
you
just have
just-
to break line of sight for long
Like,
enough
really,
and
yeah.
be far enough.
Well, you have to break line of sight, and you have to be in a spot to where they can't navigate to you. Like you got to get on the other side of a wall that they can't get over or go through. And I guess the one thing there that the game kind of suffers from, I mean, especially after this point, you're going to run into something that's really going to annoy you.
Spoilers.
Tutorials. Early on in the game, it teaches you the basic mechanics and does it decently. But then it starts trying to teach you things mid-combat without pausing.
What?
That's not great.
Hold on. Well, that's another good thing I have about this game is the fact that you can pause.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
pause during combat.
Yeah, because
It's
it's single
okay,
player,
you
that's
can
great.
pause.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing.
Yeah.
But there's...
I can
just
go to
saying,
the bathroom.
Yeah.
you will have an encounter later on in which you're fighting an enemy and they introduce a new mechanic and they're trying to teach you on the screen as he's attacking you with that
Okay,
mechanic.
that does suck.
Oh, that's not great.
You expect me to read while trying to dodge these attacks? That's insane.
It is.
Nicholas?
So.
Let's see. Oh God. One of the things that I'm enjoying a lot about the world, I'll start there. I mean, maybe just the world in general. Like, I was kind of worried going into this game that it was gonna feel more linear. Like, I was worried about, because I love Souls games, and I was like, I love From Software, but I was like, the thought of them making a game that isn't like a Souls game is kind of scary.
Level point A to point B.
Yeah,
level,
I was worried it was
yeah.
going to be very much like, like, I don't know, Shinobi or something like that. I don't know.
Sure.
But it's actually way larger in scale, way more vertical, like we talked about, way more...
Non-linear. I mean, that's one.
Yeah,
of,
it is.
That's
It
one of the
is.
things that's surprising
Yeah.
me the most. Is and this actually right here, I think, even in the next like 45 seconds, minute of gameplay, if you're watching live, I kind of got fed up. I was kind of doing this area a bunch of times, and I was like, let me just kind of. I haven't been over to this side. I open a door. It's a whole nother section that I'm like, oh shit, I didn't realize this was over here.
It is
Yeah.
very.
Like,
It is very much following the same like addicting like level design as kind of as like a Souls game or Bloodborne. Like it's every bit as detailed and large and complex as those games. Maybe not quite as large, because I do feel like maybe these areas are a little bit more focused. But like there's still shit hidden around every corner.
Oh, yeah.
I discovered a secret boss. Did you find the headless guy?
Mm-mm.
Like pretty early on in the game, like you can wander off a beaten path and jump across these rocks and like wander, like scooch across this wall and then like leap over to this like really far like cave.
You do what? You get what?
Like shimmy across the wall.
Scooch.
Yeah, scooch.
I must find
Are you
that.
talking
and,
about the?
You walk into a pitch black cave and there's this fucking headless creature.
Is that the confetti thing?
Confetti.
Confetti thing.
All right, never mind.
No.
Confetti boss?
Never mind.
No, not the confetti thing. This is like this headless dude wandering around this super dark cave, and
Green Goddamn says yes.
he killed me in one hit.
Okay, so I didn't realize I got there. I didn't realize you could make the jump over to that cave. I didn't
Yeah.
try. I should have tried.
There is a dude in there.
So yeah,
and he will fuck your shit
okay,
up.
so that is what I'm talking about.
I'm
but
going to find this.
yeah, so I actually find a boss at the end of this footage that I sorry, not boss. Let's not say boss. Let's say a nameless enemy, because that is the thing. Is all of these enemies that you have to fight that are usually take two. Death blows to kill. And they all have names.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is they're all not just
Yeah.
nameless dudes. They all have a name. And I actually encounter one at the end of this, who's a guy who is missing a fucking arm. And I thought he was a friend at first because you can talk to him.
Because we're both
Yeah.
missing arms.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he's like, and he turns around and just like a fucking roundhouse kick and starts kicking the shit out of me. And I was like, oh my god, what the fuck's going? And I just run away. I don't even try and fight him. I just run away.
I'm sorry.
Oh, another thing I want to mention that I like, which is a kind of a new thing for this team, is the game or the way they approach story, the way that it is.
You have a named character who has a background and a motivation and things to fucking
Okay,
do.
that was not an opening for you to attack Dark Souls story, because I still think you're.
I wasn't attacking it, but now that you say that,
I still think you're
Yeah, but
completely
like
wrong.
some
but
of the stuff you're saying is wrong. But I do agree that like narrative style is a little bit more conventional here.
Oh, yeah,
it's a little bit
definitely.
more.
I don't know if
focused.
I don't know
There
if
is a story. You don't have to find things in the world to find the lore. I love the eavesdropping
there is
thing.
plenty to find.
There is. I love eavesdropping.
is really cool. I will say that I think maybe I'm just not like there yet, but like the hook, the like the lore, I guess, like the universe that they're showing me, like it's not doing it. It's not doing it yet. I mean, it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I think the late Sengoku Japanese stuff is like really fucking cool. I don't really know what Wolf is though, or like why I care yet. I don't know what's going on. Like, like it seems like there's more of like a political story going
the stuff
on.
with Junichiro and then the Ishin
and like what I loved from other FromSoft games were like just like the weird like gothic fiction of it all, you know, like Yharnam, like just looking at Yharnam was like, oh my god, this place is amazing, and like the whole idea, like the lore of like the Night of the Hunt and like the Healing Church and like all that shit.
God,
was
you
like
just said
so
Night of the Hunt.
fucking...
It reminded me how much I love Bloodborne.
Yeah, it's so fucking great. Like that stuff is so good, and there's
that.
not anything here yet that's like really resonating with me like that. Now, granted, I'm still like in the very like beginning of this game, and I'm starting to get into like some of the more supernatural elements, like the dragon rot
I'm still
and shit
kind of
like
waiting
that.
for the other ball to drop.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, don't get me wrong.
I do kind of like the stuff like the sculptor in his workshop, like sculpting all those like images of Buddha and like just being surrounded by like these wooden Buddhas and like stuff like that aesthetically and kind of like conceptually kind of rings truer to what I like and what I remember about From Software games and Souls games. But like I feel like I'm seeing less of that. You know, like these sanctuary areas were always like these really like amazing places that like are haunting. You know, like the Hunter's Dream was like fucking haunting. You know?
You're
Firelink Shrine and like Majula were all like these wonderful places, and the dilapidated temples a little just kind of like okay.
Yeah.
Like
you are seeing glimpses of that kind of stuff that's got me like, because I'm still kind of waiting for like like you said, the more supernatural element to kind of take hold. But like you're seeing glimpses of it. Like I don't know, have you seen the giant snake yet?
I haven't.
Like
God, the
like,
snake.
There are things where you're like, well, that's definitely not normal.
Actually, I think they showed the giant snake in one of those.
They did.
Yeah, okay.
They actually showed it at E3.
Yeah.
And like, but like, you finally did more of that encounter stuff, and it's kind of like, okay, well, there are definitely
That's what
elements.
I'm
of this
sure.
world.
I'm sure it's gonna get there.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
it just seems like way more. It's starting from like a much more grounded, like down to earth area than I'm
And
used to.
Green
from these
Goddamn
kind
in
of
chat
games.
says there's definitely more like the fantasy lore stuff after you get past the castle.
But
Sure.
what I don't think we're going to see from this game, and forgive me, I'm not a Souls expert, but I don't remember all of like what were the clans and stuff in Dark Souls 2 and 3 and like joining the different groups and then like
the wolves.
Oh, you just knocked it
I'm
out of
sorry,
my fucking
yeah, I know,
head.
that's my
Because
bad.
you said the word clan.
I know, but there was like the bell tower like people that was all about like invading people's
Covenants.
The Covenants,
God damn
all
it.
about invading their games. I don't think we're going to see that, and I really
Yeah.
like that aspect of Dark Souls.
That's
invading other people's worlds to help or hinder.
Yeah.
Like I liked that, and I don't think we're going to see that in this, which is
that
whatever.
stuff was like kind of.
This is the guy I was talking about.
That was what really made those games like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And it is kind of like I don't know, some people look down on summoning help for bosses or whatever, but like I feel like that's really kind of like a part of the Souls games is like the multiplayer like connectivity. Like I used to do that all the time. I would just like log on to Dark Souls or Dark Souls 2 or 3 or whatever I was playing at the time, and like I just go to boss areas of bosses I've fought before and like farm shit by helping other people fight the boss, and like I really liked having that option, and I really like playing the game that way. And this not having that, you know, I don't think that's really necessarily like a mark against this game, but it is something that I personally kind of miss. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. That was definitely a very unique thing. That's definitely not. It doesn't exist here.
Plus, those fucking bosses so far. Like, I was watching a buddy of mine fight Lady Butterfly.
Oh, I have.
Butterfly Lady.
She's
Like,
terrible.
what the fuck,
dude?
What the fuck?
That boss fight pissed me off. I finally beat her yesterday.
Wait, sorry, that's the Harada station.
I had to be
Yeah.
a cheap ass with her.
Really?
Like, I used the Nightjar Slash. I just repeated that over and over and over again and stun locked her.
Oh,
Where she can do anything.
What?
dude!
I
So
had
like,
to.
Try that.
Thank you for the pro tip.
Oh my
First
god!
try.
I hope
Oh
it
my
works.
God.
I'm gonna piss
don't
so
be
many
cheap.
people off.
So the problem with that
Have
fight,
some cheese.
the problem with that fight, the problem with that fight is like
some premium
you need
cheddar.
an item to make it a little bit easier on yourself. And it's not like you can just find that item. It's in limited quantity. And so I only had 8 of them. You'll see when you get there.
Okay.
I only had 8 of them, and then I used all 8. And I'm like, well, fuck. Like, what am I going to do?
the seeds?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
seeds.
yeah.
And so I had a tougher time. I mean, I finally beat her, and she was a fucking bitch. But it's one of those things where it's like, what was the fucking dancers from Dark Souls 3?
Oh, Dances the Veil.
Dude, like that shit, like
The
that.
Boreal Veil.
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
Like there's some tough boss fights, and I enjoy it. It does suck that one of the times I died fighting her, I respawned, and it was like, oh, you got some more rot now, and I'm like, fuck,
Damn.
like, god damn it. But yeah, I don't know. This game's fantastic.
I'm
We're
very-
gonna come back to it.
Like, I was kind of excited. Like, I was excited before this game came out, just more based on the fact that it was a new From Software
yeah.
game. But, like, having actually played it, I was like, I was a little nervous when I first booted it up. Like, is it going to have that old black magic? And, oh my God, does it.
Like, it wasn't really selling me until it got to the part with the snake. And then once I played through the snake sequence, I was like,
Dude, I was
this
terrified
is
in that
fucking
sequence.
awesome.
I was terrified.
Yeah,
That was terrifying, but so good.
All right.
Oh man.
Well, we need to move on.
We do.
We've been talking about this for over half an hour
Yeah,
now.
don't worry. We'll talk about it more next week because Brad will be here, and I'm sure I think he's probably gonna end up playing it tomorrow. So,
Provided I don't, because I think he plans on playing my Steam copy.
oh, gotcha.
So I might fuck him over and just play some tomorrow.
Buy it yourself.
Anyways,
Bitch.
we will return to Sekiro next week, probably when Brad is back. So let's move on to the next game we want to talk about, and this is going to be kind of a two-part conversation. I know Chris Davis is finally going to have an opportunity to talk about the Division 2. I want to also take an opportunity to interject some impressions of the Division 1 because I finally opened that copy of the game that you gifted us so kindly 2 years ago.
Proud of
Would
you,
this,
and, yeah,
would
I
this
hate you
be
so much.
would this be an appropriate time? Like, I mean, the main reason I don't have more hours into Sekiro is because I recently fell off the wagon really hard with Destiny 2.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Like, I'm going crazy on Destiny 2 and I'm fucking loving it. Would this be a place to interject some opinions and comparisons between the two there?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Please do.
Since we're talking schlooters. Thanks for that,
Schlooters,
Joseph.
okay. Oh my god, I'm playing a Schluter?
That's a Joseph word.
Looter shooter.
Oh man. Well, how are we going to do this? So we're potentially talking about three
What's up
games
with the
here.
Division 2, Chris Davis?
The Division
start there,
2 is an excellent upgrade on the Division 1.
Okay, so
All right, well, that's enough said. So
Okay.
moving on.
maybe the best way is to kind of talk at you, Chris Davis, and talk to you
Yes.
about my experience with the Division 1, and then you can kind of
Let me,
interject with...
frame your questions and I can answer them.
Okay, the Division 2.
Yes.
I finally booted it up. You know what?
The Division 1 you booted up.
Sorry, the Division 1. I'm really digging it so far. I wasn't going into it. I wasn't quite sure what to. I didn't know what kind of shooter it was, like how it felt. Like I didn't realize this was one of those. Like as far as the shooting mechanics go, when you're shooting a dude, you're seeing damage numbers fly up, and you have to whittle down their health bar until they die. I wasn't really aware of this.
Yep.
But I'm really starting to enjoy. I kind of right out of the gate. I enjoy the feel of the guns. I enjoy the layout of the world. I enjoy.
robot spraying.
Yeah, that's a good question.
So that's a drone that you can get that will repair your armor. Because your health in this game isn't like a shield bar and a health bar.
Is this
armor.
new to Division 2 that you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've added a bunch of those
So you know that those three orange bars that you have,
Yes.
they replaced that with a limited health bar and marks of armor
Gotcha.
that will not regenerate unless you have either a healing skill or you activate or you put on some armor.
Okay.
I've noticed there's a lot more cargo pants in this game. Or cargo shorts.
I mean,
it's
'cause
warm.
it takes place in summer.
it's the summer, yeah.
Oh, which is a
was-
pretty dramatic departure from Division 1, which
From
takes
the
place
winter.
during the winter, obviously.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate, I really enjoy the premise of the Division 1. I do like this idea of there being this terrible viral outbreak and you being sent as a special operative into the city to try and kind of turn the tide, because it's chaos obviously in the city. I like that concept. And so far, I'm having a lot of fun just kind of exploring the world. The things that are jumping out of me that I really, really enjoy so far, I love their cover system in this game and how it kind of has that.
That contextual, where you can hold X to run to your next point.
Yes,
of cover.
that is-
Or you can break out of it at any time to put yourself in a good position. It's
Yeah.
really great.
Fucking-
I use it a lot in this footage.
Yeah.
I use it a lot in the game.
I'm glad to see it's back because that's one of those things. If they removed it, I feel
This
like it
is
would take from its
actually
personality
something
away.
that's been in a number of Clancy games.
Yeah, was it in
Ghost Recon? It
yeah.
was in. It wasn't in Rainbow Six.
But you've also seen glimpses of it in non-Tom Clancy games. It kind of reminds me of
Splinter Cell had it.
XCOM a little bit. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The idea that you just hold down a button, your character paths all the way to the spot that you're
Look at
selecting.
this guy. He's already got gold.
Let me just so in the other just kind of a few things that are jumping at me that I'm really
this
enjoying
fucking
so far.
guy.
Because I am still very, very early in this game, obviously.
Yeah.
The other thing that kind of blows me away about this game that I wasn't expecting is the UI in this game is pretty phenomenal. Like the way everything, like it's very complex.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can find anything you want to know if you know where to look.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little suffocating.
I mean, the thing is, it's a lot.
It's
And
so much.
I mean, maybe phenomenal isn't the best way to put it. Maybe saying, considering how much information they're trying to tell you, they found really good ways of keeping it from being too overwhelming. I guess. Like they found a really clean way of presenting a ton of information because there is a ton to do.
Yeah.
But I found everything, like all the different menus, all the different, like how you manage your inventory, how to set up, what do they call it? Where you can like save your inventory and so you
Loadouts.
Sorry.
Loadouts weren't in the launch version of the game.
Gotcha. Well,
That was a year 2 thing.
I do like the loadout system. See, that's the one thing I'm benefiting from playing this game so late is that like I'm benefiting from all the. stuff
You're
they
getting
have.
all the benefits. Like you're getting the complete enemy rework and balance, the time to kill, the added enemy variety. You're getting so many things.
So a couple questions
All
I
the
have
things.
so far about the game, because I know Chris Davis, you have famously played like 800 hours of this game.
Not 800 hours, but close to that.
And I'm not going to play 800 hours of this game. In fact, at this point, I know that I'm like interested enough.
If you put 50 hours into it, I would be
Shocked.
pleased.
Okay, so
I'm sure you
here's the thing.
would.
Like, I know now.
792, thank you.
I now know that I'm interested enough in this game that I want to play the Division 2. But I want to, since you gave me the Division 1 so kindly, have it. I'm enjoying it. Like you said, I'm benefiting from all of these new features that have been post-launch. Like, I'm going to go ahead and play through this first. My question is, I've done a lot of stuff where, you go into the world to do, like, missions where you're, like, retrieving supplies, you're finding missing agents.
Discovering what happened with the first wave, you're building your base of operations.
Yeah, they sent me on a mission to, like, track down, or to kill this, I guess, murderer or serial killer or something. I don't know what it was. Yesterday, which seemed cool, like, conceptually, right out of the gate, until I realized it was just kind of like, oh, they're just telling me this enemy on the map is a killer and trying to give me, like, emotional context to why I want to kill her. But it's really no different than any other encounter that I'm having, right?
Is it Lorraine Barrett?
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Okay, so we're talking about Lexington, okay.
Yes. So that was cool. I'm just wondering, does the game kind of give you like 3 or 4 different mission types and repeat that over and over and over and over again, or do they find ways to keep the story interesting for an entire 50 hours?
No, they keep finding different ways to do missions that keep you going, and you develop preferences for like what you want to replay and things like that for the in-game stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Because a lot of the in-game, the light zone stuff, you want to replay missions at higher difficulty levels to get better to your loot and trap.
But I mean, a
things.
lot of like objectives aren't like the only component of the mission. A lot of like what gives a lot of these things variety is like the actual.
Yeah.
Like you doing a raid or something like in a very specific map can be completely different.
Yeah, and I do think it's a cool world. Like when you go, like suddenly you're like exploring the sewers, or you're being sent to a police station, or stuff, and just visually it feels very different, even though what you're kind of doing inside them is the same. And like I said, I'm enjoying the combat enough. I really do enjoy the act, like how you're switching between weapons and like the feel of the guns. I think feels really nice. And I love that feedback when you're shooting a dude and you watch their health whittle down, and you don't quite know if you're gonna make the shot. When you get it, you see that little yellow thing pop up that says, man, I forgot what it says, but it basically tells you you've downed them. Like, I love it. Super satisfying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going.
But the level design it's pretty good in the first game, but like in the Division 2, this is incredible. This is a mission inside the National Air and Space Museum.
Okay, I was about to say.
I don't know if you've ever actually visited it, but it is a incredibly faithful rendition of it.
That's. I mean, I was. You walked
Down
in
to
that-
like the placement of like all the fucking planes and the rockets and everything that's just on display. It is
because the second one takes
fantastic.
place in Washington, right?
Yes.
In DC.
In DC.
So like the first game, I kind of remember the story of that kind of taking like an interesting approach where like they end up, by the time you get through it, they end up leaving the idea of like, it ends up kind of like questioning the idea of like how good of an idea the Division actually is.
Yeah.
Like, is it a good idea for this like completely autonomous agency with like these agents who don't really answer to anybody and are
full
just kind
executive
of like
authority,
just doing whatever the fuck they want, and like that's
Kinda like
why
the
that's how you get
Avengers.
things like the dark zones and shit like that, where like these agents are just kind of like abusing their authority, and then like you start the Division 2 and it's kind of just like all of that is forgotten, and it's kind of just like a very like oorah, like yeah, we're gonna save America kind of like thing, and I thought that was kind of weird. I mean, like I started playing this and I played for a while, and like the mechanics, yeah, 2,
okay,
yeah, Division 2, and like the mechanics and stuff were great, but like the story was kind of just bumming me out.
So yeah, the part of the thing about it is that you're not using the same character as you were in the first game, so you come from a different perspective and different things are happening at the same time, so they don't.
This is like farther out from like.
This is like 7 months after the original game.
Right.
So the virus has died out, settlements are popping up all over, and the government's trying, just barely holding on by a thread in DC.
Would you say the Division 1 has like... I've always been very confused about how like story is handled in these kinds of games.
Yeah.
Like, is there like a concrete like conflict and ending they kind of go through, you know, or is it just kind of like...
I mean, so the first game is about the liberation of New York, taking the city back.
Okay, and that is a journey that you go on in an arc that finishes.
You liberate the city by clearing out the 3 factions, killing their leaders, and trying to restore order in the city.
Okay, cool. I can dig that. Just checking. I wasn't sure.
But the thing was, how the game is structured is that once you get past the final official mission of the game, see, like the fucking space shuttle right there, dude, it's so cool. Once you get past like that final mission, it's more about the in-game and replayability.
And that's what the Dark Zone is for.
And that's what the Dark Zone, and that's what the incursions are for, and the various other modes.
Most of these games, that's like where you actually start playing the game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, I'm gonna stick with this. So,
like, I want you to play through all the missions, and then I want you to try. It's only 15.
Call me.
You've probably already beaten like half of them.
Right. I wouldn't go that far. I'm still pretty early in the game.
Well, the way you were describing like Lexington, and
I've only had like one true like non-tutorial session of the game where I like ventured out into the city and then did some stuff and came back. Like that's
like Lexington. You've defeated one of the in-game main bosses.
Okay,
you have cleared out a faction.
I don't think I've done that yet. Actually, I think we're talking about different things because I have definitely not gotten the sense that I have completed a major portion of the game.
Okay, well,
but I'm going to keep going.
Yeah,
Tell us. Let's focus on Division 2 right now.
2.
Just what do you want to throw in here to like say like what are you enjoying about this?
So
game
the combat feels a lot more frenetic. It doesn't feel so much focused on staying in one spot and just staying in cover the entire time. You are moving around. You have enemies that will more actively flank you. They've got weapon variety that you don't have access to, like rocket launchers and things like that will do AoE effects and keep you moving and on your feet.
So
enemies
it
also
feels more like a more fast-paced shooter.
Faster paced. I wouldn't say fast.
Part of what I liked about the Division so far is kind of the flow, the pace and flow of the combat.
Yeah. I mean, what you're looking at right now, like I'm facing off against a
I feel like
faction
I'm watching
called
Mass Effect or something.
Yeah,
Kind of looks like it.
yeah. This is a faction called the True Sons. They're this militant Army Reserve faction that went rogue and is trying to overthrow the government. And what they're doing in this mission is they've taken over the National Air and Space Museum, and they're using the carcasses of the rockets to build missiles and bombs that they can launch at other targets.
Oh, gotcha.
So you're going here, you're investigating, and you're stopping that. So we're getting into the rocket section here, which is so cool.
I definitely like the environments.
Yeah,
pretty dope.
The environments the variety is
Is
like
the world
night and
just
day
as large and
compared to
open as New York was in the
it's not quite as large if you were to go like foot to foot.
Yeah.
But like it's so much more open in the variety of buildings to go inside and explore. And
that's one thing about Division 1.
One.
I'm kind of disappointed by the number of buildings you can't go inside many buildings as far as I can tell so far.
And a lot of those buildings are kind of rinse and repeat stuff,
Yeah.
like houses with staircases in them, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But no, in this you've got so many different monuments and museums and major federal buildings to explore. You've got
Love exploring those major federal.
Do you go to the
buildings.
White House? I'm just kidding. Let's not.
the
spoil
White
it.
House is your base of operations.
Oh, damn it! You spoiled it.
That's not a spoiler.
Okay,
That's been in the
fair
games. That was like the opening mission of the game.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's a lot of dudes.
Yeah, there's a lot of dudes, and one of those dudes, that guy with the gold health, he's one of the armored mini bosses. Like he doesn't even have a name. He's just an armored mini boss. He's got a fucking grenade launcher, and he's covered head to toe with
Why are you covered in
Kevlar and
ectoplasm?
all sorts of stuff.
That's the robot you were talking about.
That's the
earlier.
robot that's repairing
It
my
just
armor.
jizzes on you.
Yeah, we were talking
Kinda,
about
yeah.
that earlier.
green
How did I miss
jizz. Green jizz.
There's only 8 skills in the game, by the way, but there's varieties of those skills.
Okay.
So you can have the drone that heals like here. You can have a drone that acts like a fucking Metal Gear Solid 2 bullet deflector. You know how, like,
Oh, I see.
you know, with Ocelot, when
Yeah.
they were shooting him, just bullets would just go around him. Like, that's what your drone will do for you.
That's
I also have equipped what's called the Hive. It has offensive and defense capabilities to where I've got it right now to where if I go down, it will automatically deploy and pick me back up. So it's like
so you,
get out of jail free
and
card?
and you tweak those settings so you can kind of customize
yeah.
how
It's
it
like
behaves?
there's like 8 different like gear things you can equip, and each one of them has like 3 or 4 different modes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
And on top of that, each of those skills you can have modifiers put on it, where they'll have an extra charge on them, or they'll have a better cooldown, or things like that.
Everything I'm hearing, I like, and I'm glad that I'm finally playing it. I'm surprised that I'm enjoying it as much. I really genuinely popped the first game in as kind of like, oh, that'd be funny. I'll play The Division finally. And now I'm just kind of like thinking about The Division more than I ever expected I would. So I'm going to keep playing The Division.
So I haven't quite gotten to the end game of Division 2 yet. I'm level 30 right now, as in this
Holy
footage.
fuck.
But
I'm level 5, just to put in
but it tops
perspective.
out at 30.
I'm level 5. Wait, tops out at 30. You're at level 31.
No, I'm at 30 right now.
Oh,
It
gotcha.
stops at 30, and you start earning proficiency caches instead of leveling up.
Okay.
Cash are just random loot boxes.
Okay, Crispy, real quick.
What's up?
Throw it over to you. You wanted to interject with some Destiny 2 Forsaken stuff.
Yeah, man. While we're talking Schluters, I really think you should maybe give Destiny 2 a try.
I really should have downloaded that when it was free, shouldn't I?
Well, yeah, but they also had a sale on the Legendary Edition like 2 weeks ago.
That you also missed.
It's $20 for the game and for like all of the expansions up to date.
And that's
Forsaken?
that's
Forsaken.
a thing that you could still.
Including Forsaken.
That's a thing I could go out and do tonight.
I don't know if it's still on sale, but it's normally $40.
Don't do this to me, Crispy.
It's really good though. I don't know, man. It's like when I left Destiny, it was like a month or 2 after release, and it was kind of like on the downhill slope, and a lot of people were really not feeling it, and Crucible was a mess, and Might multi-tools were all over the place, and it was just fucking terrible.
But I hear Forsaken kind of brings Destiny 2 to like.
Oh,
where-
it's been like the first expansion was Curse of Osiris, and that one was kind of just like a whatever. But with Warmind and now, especially with Forsaken, like yeah, they've added a lot to it. They've added a whole bunch of different raids. They've added new PvP modes. They've added this whole new like end game area called the Dreaming City, where you do I don't even know what the fuck you do there. It's like a lot of crazy shit.
You dream.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't know like I mean you should look it up. I don't even really understand all the new stuff that's going on. But like I do know that I've been playing hours and hours of it, and it's like every minute is just like, okay, what am I gonna do now? I'm gonna go over here and do this. So I gotta work on this quest, and I gotta do that. Like I've never,
always have
I've
something.
never had like so many things competing for my time and attention in this game before, and it's so good, and it's like just so, and it's so good, and it's so delicious, and I'm loving every minute of it, and I feel like it's a really good time for these loot shooters, you know, because Destiny 2 is fucking on the up and up. Division 2 is doing
so
really well.
do you currently own the Division 2, or are you?
No, I rented it. You know, it's funny actually. I went on Reddit the other day because I was looking at Destiny Reddit to like look up builds and shit like that, and then I was like, oh, let me look at the Division Reddit real quick, and I went over to the Division Reddit, and it was all the same shit. It was like people talking about like builds and like end game content, like doing this and that, and you know what's this and that and everything, and I was like, man, how's Anthem doing? You know, so I went over to the Anthem subreddit, thinking like, okay, maybe they had a rocky start and they're like they're finding themselves and they're getting on their feet, and people are like figuring out the game and finding out how to have fun with it. I went over to that subreddit, and every single topic, it was like there'd be like 5 threads in a row that were like, why did I buy this game? Is this game dead? I fucking hate you and everybody else in this Reddit. And then like there'd be one picture that was like, hey, look at my javelin. and then be like, this game's fucking dead. BioWare's dead. EA's the fucking monster. Like, God, yeah.
That is really super
It is
unfortunate.
really fucking unfortunate, especially in this day and age, in this environment of all these like fun loot shooters.
I knew it was going to be rocky.
Which I
but
think we'll circle back to later when we talk about another game.
Yes, probably. I knew that game was going to be rocky based on the way it started, like right out of the gate. But man, I didn't think like 3 or 4 weeks later we'd still be.
I really
like,
thought it was just
talking
going to be
about
like a
but-
bad launch and then it would just like find
Yeah.
its way, but like apparently not. Like apparently people who are like putting hours and hours into this game are just like, there's nothing to do. Like,
Wow. Well, that's super disappointing.
Well, I'll tell you what, Nick. In the Division 2, I'm not competing for your time here, but I'm just saying.
I'm already playing the Division 1.
Yeah. But if you like kind of story puzzles and like mysteries and stuff,
I like both of these things.
there's some pretty good shit in this game.
And
and there's
Division 2.
really good shit in
Like
Destiny
there's
2.
people are
Oh,
discovering.
fuck it. You guys are both like trying to like tempt me in different ways.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man, here you're shooting poor people. In Destiny, you're shooting like worm gods.
I mean, that's not wrong. That's entirely true. But at the same time, like there's
Now I
people
feel like if what the decision I make is going to say a lot about me.
Yes, as a person, it will, yes.
But people are discovering like GTA 5 style like complex puzzles that people are trying to explore.
Does GTA 5 have complex puzzles?
Like the entire mountain with the
Oh yeah, the
UFO
fucking
thing?
UFO
thing?
Yeah,
that took people
that
months
took
to figure out.
No, it was like years after
Years.
launch. It was like 3 or 4 years after launch. People were still figuring that shit out.
Yeah,
and
like people are figuring out like there's like codes they'll find at different places or like shooting different sequences of windows, and some of these puzzles are spawning hunters, and hunters were introduced in the Division 1 for the survival mode.
Yeah.
Hunters are the hardest enemy in the entire
Are
game.
they dudes?
Yes, they're human.
Okay. I was about to say, I couldn't tell. You
But
said
they're-
hunters, I immediately pictured Resident Evil.
The hunters, they're like agents like you. They have all the same skill sets, but they are 20 times harder than you.
You say hunters, that kind of, does that imply that like they chase you around? Like,
Yes.
Okay, that's cool.
They have a one-hit melee kill with a fucking axe, and they are just guaranteed. They are the coolest and yet the most scariest enemy in this entire
So
series.
if you like lose them in the world, you just kind of know they're always out there coming for you.
So that's the thing. I've only encountered one, and it was part of a side mission, and it scared the shit out of me. But people are finding these puzzles the way to summon hunters into the world for you to fight, and if you win, you get really fucking high tier loot.
That's tempting. That's
and
good thing for a loot shooter. All right, we need to take a break.
Okay, yeah.
So,
well, in Destiny 2, you get capes. I will say that.
all right, we're gonna take a quick break.
Space
We're gonna
capes.
come back and we have. Oh my god, there's so much shit that happened in the past
Yes.
2 weeks. So we're gonna talk about all that shit, and then we're gonna answer some questions from our supporters on Patreon, and then of course we're gonna wrap up the show with the 4-player minute. So if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We could still be done by 10:45, like you said.
We could.
Maybe.
We could
Let's
make
do
it happen. In fact, we will make it happen.
What's the
We
first
are-
news topic?
We are back from the
Impressions,
From
the Division 2.
the break. No, Chris Davis, hit us with a news topic. There is so much happening here.
Slow your roll.
Don't slow, go faster.
This is an audio.
Here.
Oh my god, we're
It's the
starting.
worst.
There
Oh
we go.
god, there it is.
Yay! I
They-
was trying to watch that live stream.
They
but-
finally announced the sequel to Vampire the Masquerade: Bloodlines.
Did anyone watch that whole announcement? Like,
No,
was
I
it weird the whole way through? Like,
I didn't watch
because
the
it was
whole
like
announcement.
it was a bunch of like weird in character, like in universe shit.
Yeah.
like-
I did not watch it.
yeah. I don't know. It was weird, but
So,
I
you're-
guess there's.
you're a big fan of Vampire the Masquerade, right?
I really liked the first one. Yeah.
I've never
I've
touched
I've
this.
played like 3 hours of it.
I've never
It's
tried it.
it's a weird game.
It's kind of
It's
it's
weird,
an
but it's
older kind of
really-
borked, not borked. What's the word I'm looking for?
Jank.
It's kind of
Older
janky,
style.
but I think that's mostly just because of how old it is.
Yeah.
Like, at the time, there really wasn't much.
I mean, it's
that.
kind of a role playing game. It's I almost liken it to like old school
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That style.
A kind of open world, interact with a lot of people.
It's one of
and
those things
try
where
out
it's like
things
it
kinda
doesn't give
game.
you much direction.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, hey, explore this world, and you're like, what the fuck's going on?
So the question is, what are people's reactions? I haven't been paying a lot of attention to like.
They're fucking ecstatic.
Are they ecstatic because it exists, or are they ecstatic based on what they saw?
Yes.
All that's been shown is a cinematic trailer.
Yeah, they're just ecstatic.
There
that
is
it
no
exists,
gameplay.
Nick.
There's also a pretty big built-in audience because
Oh,
it's all
yeah.
Worlds
Yeah.
of Darkness
Oh, yeah.
RPGs.
Yeah.
You know, and actually they've been going through. I think they've been going through a bit of revival lately because they actually put out new versions of like Vampire the Masquerade and all that shit, like the tabletop games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like riding that wave.
Yep.
So this is going to be kind of like Deus Ex-y, but you're playing as a vampire, right?
You are a new vampire.
So
Evidently,
it's
creating vampires
so
is
it's
a bad
kind of
thing.
like vampire,
Vampire.
but
Le Vampire.
more of a Deus Ex kind of experience, maybe.
Yeah,
Well,
I would say they're similar games.
So my understanding of how the game is supposed to go is that creating vampires in this world in an unauthorized manner is by the head vampire families is a no-no, and if they catch you, they instantly execute you.
Okay, so here's a question: for someone who never touched the original Bloodlines, what? It's an RPG, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you're a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably drink blood?
You sure?
One of
Like-
multiple types of vampires.
yes.
Yeah, there's it's called Bloodlines because there's like 5 different bloodlines of vampire that you can choose, and they all play differently.
There's like a crazy one. I
The
forget what it's called.
Malkavians, yeah,
Malkavians.
they can't like speak in normal sentences, so like all your dialogue options in the game are just like these weird, like just weird sentences, and people are just like, yeah, right on, dude, whatever you say, like,
Yeah.
And then there's like what are they called, like the Feratu or something, like Nosferatu? I don't remember, but there's vampires that are kind of like your classic Nosferatu, like monster vampires,
Yeah.
and they don't look human enough to
Yeah.
like walk around on the surface world. So like if people see you, they freak out. So you have to like travel around in the sewers for the whole game. And shit.
I've always liked this idea of like vampire hierarchy. But I always think back to like, and this is not the same thing exactly, but like Blade 2. You remember how they had those all vampires and they
Yeah.
looked different, they behaved
yeah.
different. Like,
Yeah.
I've always liked that.
Like that
kind of shit.
concept.
I don't know. This could be fucking cool.
Yeah.
The only
Do we know
reason
at all
I
when it's
potentially would be looking forward to this one
Next
is because
year.
I've tried. Sorry, this new one is. I've tried the first one, and its jank is kind of what turns me off of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of janky.
When did that come out?
Ooh.
I mean, that was like 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Well,
Well, I think the Bloodlines itself came out in 02 or 03, something like that.
Maybe.
so that's
because,
exciting.
Because didn't it get an Xbox port, or am I crazy?
It
I don't
was on the
remember.
original Xbox. So I
Yeah.
guess
that
was
is
before,
probably
yeah.
if I had to guess, I would say that's probably not a very impressive port.
Yeah. Highly doubt.
Or
it.
a very good option if you're going to play the original game. Anyways, I'm looking forward to finding out more about this. We'll talk more about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 when we learn more. I wonder if that'll be at E3. Maybe it will. Who knows? All right, next news topic. Chris Davis.
Beautiful.
Okay, here we go. Nolan, take it away.
Oh God, I don't know how to react to this. Jesus.
It says it right there in the.
No, I know what it is. I know what the news
I know, but it
topic
says
is. And
how you should react.
oh, I didn't even read that. Yes,
put your name
Nolan's
in
Your
head
head
explodes.
explode.
Shit, I'm drawing a blank on the company. Brace Yourself Games.
Mm-hmm.
Created Crypto the Necrodancer several years ago. 2015?
You
something
played a
like that?
stupid amount of that game.
I
before it
played
even
a lot
released.
of that game before it even came out. A lot of what I played of it isn't even on my Steam library because I played just an executable of it.
Yeah.
But somehow, beknownst to anyone in the world, with no leaks, no rumors, no anything, Nintendo was like, hey, you want to take one of our most beloved IPs and make your own version of it? Which is what happened. So we get out of that Cadence of Hyrule, which is Crypto the Necrodancer but with Legend of Zelda characters in the Legend of Zelda world. So
with Legend of Zelda music.
Yes. So if you're familiar with Crypt of the Necrodancer, if you're not, it's a game in which you have died. A necro dancer, similar to a necromancer, has taken your heart, and you have to move to the beat of the music as you're dungeon diving in this roguelike game. This roguelike exploration game. So now, we don't really know too much about Cadence of Hyrule. All we know is that you can play as Cadence, Link, or Zelda in some way, shape, or form. We don't know the order or know anything like that. But you're exploring Hyrule to the beat of remix versions of Zelda songs.
That's cool.
Which, the game, if you haven't seen it, first of all, it looks fucking amazing. It
looks
looks like
yes.
Link to the Past, but with a modern twist. It doesn't look like Link Between Worlds.
This is definitely not the visual style that Crypt of the Necrodancer had.
No, it is not.
This is definitely it's more of something you. It's more. This is not exactly the same thing, but it kind of reminds me of the way I felt when I saw A Link Between Worlds. On
Link
the
Between
DS.
Worlds, yeah. Like I said, it's some weird combination. The characters are kind of softer. I don't want to say anime, but they have this more. They're not like sharp and defined. They're kind of these like kind of rounder,
It definitely
softer
follows
characters.
Nintendo's history of like kind of subtly changing up the visual style of Zelda with every game.
Yeah,
it has its own unique.
But yeah,
Sure.
I don't quite know what the game is yet. I don't care. It's still my most anticipated game of this year now. But
Is it coming this year?
yes, this year. Dude,
Yeah.
I think I
two
want to.
Zelda games in
I
a
want
year.
to say like summer.
Dude, two
It's coming out soon.
Two chibi like top-down isometric Zelda games.
Chibi, huh?
Yeah,
I could use the word chibi. I mean, like I said, they're kind of soft. If you haven't seen this trailer, please go watch it. It looks fucking amazing.
You have to realize these are Zelda tunes you're listening to, by the way, done by Denny Baranovsky.
Correct. Yes, and he was the one who worked on Crypt of the Necrodancer.
As somebody who didn't play Crypt of the Necrodancer, but I appreciated it from afar.
Mm-hmm.
And heard it plenty.
Whew, that trailer got me going. Like,
got me
really
fucking
excited to play
pumped.
it. I will definitely be playing this.
Yes.
I'd be shocked if most of us here aren't.
So I do have a lot of
Or
questions.
playing
Crypt of the Necrodancer. If you look on my Steam library, I was playing it the other day. But it's one of those games where, like I said, it's a roguelike. I don't know if this is going to be roguelike. I'm assuming it's not. I don't know though. In that game, it was all about. Like I said, roguelike. So you found weapons randomly in the world that kind of changed your path and changed how you interact with enemies and stuff. I don't know if that's going to be the case here. I don't know if it's going to be when you're Link, you always have a sword. When you're Zelda, but no, I saw in the trailer they had different weapons. At one point, they were using like a bow. I saw Zelda use something and also use a spell.
I think she used a shield.
A shield. So yeah, I don't know what it's going to be like. We literally know not much about it. Scarecrow says it's roguelike. I don't know.
But if you have not watched the trailer yet, check it out. It looks dope.
Yes.
It'd be really fucking cool if it was on a static map, though.
Yeah,
Just like
it would be.
the exploration, the dungeons that you go into.
What's up, Christopher?
We'll see what happens.
Okay. And the best part about it, it's just another fucking great game coming to the Switch.
Yep.
I'm so excited. This is one of the announcements that came out of the Nindies.
Yes.
There was actually quite a few good, like, little just things in that one. That Nindies
Do we have any
announcement.
others we want to rattle off here? I can't remember.
So a lot of re-releases of games. I can't remember all of them.
Maybe some people in chat could throw out some of the stuff that was announced in the Nindies.
And don't get me wrong, it was not like an amazing Nindies. It was just more of like, oh, here's a bunch of good shit coming to the Switch.
Well, this is actually a really good segue if we're done here talking about.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you could actually, instead of picking a random news topic, throw up the state of play.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Sony did their first state of play broadcast the other day. And if you weren't paying attention, this is kind of their new approach to like marketing and talking about their games. They're taking the Nintendo approach where they're going to be doing essentially what is a Nintendo Direct periodically throughout the year. And the question going into this was, okay, first of all, I love Sony. They've been doing a lot of great stuff lately. I like the idea of getting more like micro events with smaller announcements more often throughout the year. That sounds really cool. It's a cool way to talk about games, but the execution kind of has to be well done. I think this is something that Nintendo is still struggling with.
Oh yeah, no,
They're
they're not perfect.
Their Nintendo Directs, while they pack a lot of cool announcements into them, like everything in between it is just like dry and boring and not good. Sometimes cringy. So nobody really knew what to expect from Sony's. They did their first one the other day, and it's like super safe. I think is the best way to put it. It's not like cringy. It's not embarrassing, but it is neither is it like super entertaining.
I mean, they didn't even make an effort to differentiate themselves from a fucking Nintendo Direct in format. It was trailers interrupted by a
Talking head.
Not even a talking head, like just a narrator voiceover saying, "Oh, if you like this, well, check out this next game coming to PSVR."
Yeah, I like what bums me out the most about this is that like the big thing about Sony this year is obviously they decided to skip E3. Big bummer, especially for me. It kind of killed my enthusiasm for E3 this year. Which
Sony was always one of the best parts of E3.
Yeah, and it's like if they're gonna drop out of E3, you would kind of expect like they have like a cool backup
something
plan.
big, something.
So I was like, but I'm kind of like if they're skipping E3, but this is what we're getting instead. Like I think they've made the wrong move. But I don't know. This was it. Also, I feel like if they were gonna do the first one, they would have probably maybe done their first one and have some like super big announcement
something
with
big.
it. But like nothing in there was huge. They showed some more Days Gone footage. They announced an Iron Man VR. The one good thing, big takeaway.
They opened with that.
Yeah.
The one big takeaway I have from this is like they're definitely still putting a lot of stuff in like the VR basket.
Oh
like,
yeah.
The first like 20
No Man's
minutes,
Sky VR.
Yeah, the
that
first 10
shit
minutes
looks dope.
Yeah,
my
it
God,
did, actually.
if that comes out and that's good, holy fuck, there's no way I'm not trying that.
Well, I will say
No,
that
I mean, like if the VR, if
And
the VR is
that VR update is part of a much larger update they're doing.
Nick,
called
I will
Beyond.
say if you haven't revisited No Man's Sky since what was the
Beyond,
not
right?
Next.
Oh, Next.
Yeah,
I
since No
mean,
Man's Sky Next.
I did buy
They
it.
made a lot of improvements,
And they've
and
done
I could
another update
imagine
since that.
VR even being The only reason I'm not playing it is just because
Time.
I don't have the time.
That was honestly the most impressive thing to me.
I will absolutely if
but
there was even
I was hoping on I thought they were gonna do like Borderlands 3 or something.
yeah, but like you know, if there was even a shred of positivity around that whole No Man's Sky VR thing, I will absolutely be trying it. But you know, everything else was kind of stuff we've already seen, or just nothing that was nothing super
Observation actually looks pretty cool.
Which one was that?
That's the one where
the
you're
space
basically HAL
station?
9000.
Yeah, that
I'm
did look cool.
still
was-
waiting to see what that
That
game
was
is.
they've shown that
look
game
cool.
before. That was announced at something like
are
last
a
year.
space
Yeah.
I guess I missed it.
And I thought it
then.
looked pretty cool.
We
but
talked
like,
about it on the show.
yeah,
Or
I don't
something,
remember.
yeah.
I don't remember where they ended up announcing it, but it was definitely announced. And a lot of what they showed at this state of play was kind of more of what we've already seen.
Yeah.
They finally showed more concrete Genie, and actually I walked away from that less interested in it than I was before. I know Nolan was already pretty negative or
Yeah.
pretty uninterested in it.
Yeah,
and
I mean, for some reason, that trailer actually showed like what you're doing in the game, just beyond drawing. But at the same time, like it kind of killed some of the interest that
and also some of
anybody had.
I don't want to be the first. I don't know if I'm the only one who felt like this, but like I feel like for the first time seeing that game, I was like, I feel like for some reason it's taken a visual downgrade. Like
It's possible.
it didn't look as pretty as it has the past few times. But I don't know. Maybe that was just the way it looked on the event. I'm hoping that they really come out strong with the next one, or I hope they do something big at E3 that kind of distracts people from the idea that this is kind of the future of Sony's marketing. I don't know, but we'll have to see.
I don't think it's the future. I just think it's a part of it.
Probably.
So going back to the Nindies real quick, because my memory's horrible, I found a list of some stuff I
Okay.
forgot. Cuphead's coming to the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
Stranger Things 3. I'm not a fan of the Stranger Things games. They're
Yeah.
like, meh. Red Lantern I forgot about. That's the one where you're in the Iditarod, and you have like a pack of like dogs, and you're like on the sled
I'm sorry,
and stuff.
you're in the
It's
what?
the Iditarod.
The Iditarod
The
race.
race in Alaska, the
sledding.
dog sledding.
Oh,
800 miles.
Iron Will.
Come on,
You
Nick.
never seen that movie?
Come
No.
on, Nick.
Oh my god!
So anyway,
I know,
this
I'm an
seems like
uncultured heathen.
more of like a story-based game. It looks interesting. Bernadette's already said
Oh,
she'll
I saw
burn
you
down,
tweet about that.
She'll
About-
burn down their studio if
Yeah.
one of the dogs
Yeah.
dies.
They better start looking for a new studio.
Rad, the new game from Double Fine.
Oh yes.
That one looks interesting.
Not my rad.
Oh yeah, of course.
Wait, what?
It's not my rad. It's not Robot Alchemic Drive.
Katana Zero coming to the Switch April 18th, which I didn't realize that was that soon. I'm excited for that.
Oh,
Wait,
that
which-
was that game you guys
Oh,
were all
yes.
really hyped
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I actually saw that and I was like,
Played that at
cool.
PAX, was incredible. I'm very excited for it. It comes out 2 days after I go on my trip in April, and I'm going to a place where internet is very slow.
Ooh.
But I'm hoping that it's probably the internet is there.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's, since it's, the nature of that kind of game, maybe it's a smaller file. It won't.
You can probably download it.
It might take me a little while, but I will fucking play that game on that trip.
My friend Pedro, they showed that off more, an exclusive in June. Pine? I don't know what's about that. That's the one that was like, you're kind of like open world adventure kind of thing with like different biomes and stuff. I don't know. It seems like a little much for the Switch, in my opinion. That's all I can really. That NeoCab game.
Uh,
This wasn't the same Nindies where they announced the Link's
Awakening.
That was the last.
That was the one before.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That was a Nintendo Direct. This was a Nindies.
Oh,
so these
right,
all
right.
indie games.
Yeah, definitely excited for.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, that was it.
Next news topic, Chris Davis.
Okay. Well,
There's a lot of them.
how about we do this one?
All right, so this is a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Monolith Soft is apparently hiring for a new Zelda game.
If you're
new
in
Zelda
Japan,
yeah, obviously, we're not sitting here saying this so people can go apply for the job. The big news here.
Well, what if you're planning on moving to Japan?
Well, then by all means, apply for the job. The point is, Monolith
Well,
Soft.
don't you have to get a work visa?
I will fight you. Monolith Soft is apparently working on a new Zelda game. I don't know if this is them working in conjunction with the main Zelda team. The thing is, Monolith Soft helped Nintendo with the development of Breath of the Wild. Yep. And I think we've talked about it before. I'm pretty sure that's kind of that their main area of expertise was kind of in the how the world is structured and how you interact in the world and all that stuff. So they were a big part of like making why that game was so beloved. So it's good to hear that they're back on another project. I'm also a little nervous. I want it to be obviously a follow up to Breath of the Wild in some way, or just another core Zelda game.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried that maybe it's going to end up being something like a spin-off that's maybe not quite as exciting as like the next core Zelda game, but based on how Breath of the Wild did.
Breath of the Wild's Majora's Mask, if you will.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that.
I'd be for that.
I would take that. I have a question to throw out to you guys.
Ooh.
This is kind of a side note because we're talking about Zelda, but like, so I'm going on this trip and I'm taking my Switch with me, and I have a few things I'm going to be playing. And I'm planning on taking Breath of the Wild. The question is, if you're getting the itch to play Breath of the Wild, do you go back to the game you've already started and play more of it, or do you start the game over?
Did you finish the game you started?
Yes.
Oh,
but like, there's still tons of shrines I never did. The thing is, like, I've been everywhere in the world.
You
I've
can
done all
start
of it.
over and do a true completionist run.
There you go.
That's never gonna happen.
Like
Yeah,
that.
you got to
no.
get all 900 the seeds.
Definitely not
The
gonna
Korok
happen.
seeds?
The Korok
Yeah.
seeds.
Like,
You have to watch that guy
no,
dance 900 times.
I might be leaning towards starting it over because like what I'm getting the itch to like experience.
Yeah, have you
again
done the
was-
DLC yet?
Yeah, go do the DLC.
Yeah, the
instead.
trials and the...
Dude, do the DLC. The DLC's good.
The Champions
The
Ballad.
one fucking... The first DLC is just that, like, dungeon runner
Yeah.
that's, like, fucking crazy hard.
Yeah.
Don't describe it as a dungeon runner. I mean, that's kind of what it is, but describe it as there's a bunch of little small shrines almost, little challenges that you have to complete up the tower that powers up your master sword. So your master sword is more powerful. But they're very challenging because similar to that one shrine that gets dropped you on the island and you don't have anything.
Yeah.
It's like that, but it's a bunch of them.
But you start...
Yeah.
I remember
it's like
us
you have to
talking
do
about
like
it.
and like whatever gear you acquire inside the shrines carries over, and you do like 5 of them, and then you get to go to a little rest sanctuary.
Is
and
the
then
other DLC more of like kind of more?
There's
of
a
the
story.
There's a story for it, and there's a giant fucking dungeon.
and that one's good.
Yes.
Okay, then fuck it.
Do the DLC, man.
Doing
Yeah.
the DLC.
That's the one that
all the way.
unlocks the fucking motorcycle.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The-
Dude,
All
that was good.
There we go. Thank you. I'm glad I asked this question. All right. So yeah, there's not much else to say there. Monolith Soft is working on a new Zelda game. I would be, considering how Breath of the Wild did, I'd be kind of surprised if this wasn't them gearing up to work on the next major Zelda game.
I'm Monolith hard about it.
Yeah. What?
You're monolithic about it.
Yeah. Well, what else is in the news?
Crispy?
What?
You were...
No, I wasn't.
Oh.
Well,
Next news topic.
let's go to the frightening thing.
All right.
Okay, what is
not
this?
Google-
frightening.
Okay,
It's just
this is maybe the
interesting.
biggest like thing. That,
So
So
none
it's
of
a
us-
streaming service.
None of
from
us
Google?
didn't see this coming.
yeah, especially so.
This was kind of sort of part of the future.
Google announced their
Stadia.
Google announced the Stadia, which is a new gaming platform that they're. This was kind of what is their.
This is
Piggybacking
the
off
Project Stream that started last fall was essentially a big beta test for this, and it was Google testing out if their servers could handle 1080p streaming of a modern game, and then they chose Assassin's Creed Odyssey as a modern game. They weren't gonna we're gonna try an older one. They tried a very good looking current game, and to see how well their servers could handle cloud streaming of the game, meaning all of the processing is done on their side, and all they're serving you is the stream of the game,
and in low latency.
So
meaning
you
played it in a Chrome browser. And that's what I did. I played these. You could play it on a laptop with nothing in it.
You don't have to worry about having a high-end PC because they have it for you.
All you need is a decent amount of bandwidth.
Now, this obviously, first of all, I think it's important to note that during this presentation, they didn't announce anything about. They said it's coming out in 2019. They didn't say anything about the pricing, the price, or the structure, the model, the business model they're going with here. Like, we don't even know. Are you buying these games? Are you renting these games? Or are you basically paying a subscription service so you can play all these games?
I'm picturing a Game Pass thing.
I'm going to lean towards it's a subscription service. That's going to be my assumption.
Right.
Mainly because what happens with that is people forget that they're subscribed to it. Yeah. And so you still keep getting money. So some of the things they announced, Project Stream was 1080p. Stadia, they've said it's going to be 4K 60 frames a second.
Capable. 4K,
yeah. No, they said it's going to be able to go up to 8K.
8K, yeah.
But they said it will, if provided developers, and that was a lot of the things they kept saying during this conference, provided the developers let you do this. And so some of the big stuff they announced was some really dumb shit. Was like, if you're watching a streamer play the game, you can download a save file of where they're at and pick it up from there.
It's called save state.
Well, no, why would I care to do that? Why would I care to be like, I want to start right there?
Well, maybe you want to try out what they're doing.
I guess.
But more importantly,
the other one they announced, which I think is also equally dumb, is if a streamer is playing a multiplayer game, you can jump into their game using Stadia. What fucking game nowadays can you just jump in on randomly that doesn't already have a full fucking lobby?
Well, think more things like along the lines of like games like Cluster Truck with Twitch integration, where chat is playing along with you and giving you extra challenges.
Yeah, but you're not. It's not. It's
just like the fleshed out version of that.
The game,
but it's not going to be like you're not going to be watching someone stream like Call of Duty or something and then be able to jump into their match.
I just don't realize that. I just don't think that is going to come to the realization to the point where they're describing. I honestly don't think that's going to be a big feature of this.
And a lot of it would hinge upon developers building their games around this idea in the first place.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The developer has to do it.
So much of what they talked about, while sounds and looks cool, hinges upon the biggest thing. I mean, the biggest factor here is something they still haven't addressed, and nobody has addressed, is that not everybody has access to internet speeds to support this.
Infrastructure.
Until you have the infrastructure to support this kind of thing, it's not going to be the next fucking.
Well, I don't think they're trying to.
Or the next.
I think that
Xbox
eventually this is where maybe the world's going. Internet's in most areas is getting better and better over time. And I honestly do think starting it sooner than later is the best thing to do.
And great.
Because you can start with a subset.
This is a company that is also like another part of this company is making a big push for fiber optic internet. Like they are laying the seeds for something that they think will grow with their like Google Fiber side of things.
Yeah.
You know?
And don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying this is a bad idea that they're starting early and whatnot. It's just like, but they kept talking about it like this is like they're very much expecting to enter become one of the major players. And I don't think it's gonna be suddenly become Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Google because they don't have the infrastructure in place right now. So it's that is what's gonna hold them back from being basically potentially becoming like the top player.
Like, I mean,
I think the good thing about it is when a developer works on a game, they have to be like, all right, how is this game going to run on this platform and this platform and this platform? And now we're in between cycles, so I have to worry about, do I put it out for the PS4 and the PS5, or do I just shoot for the new one? Whereas I think with a model like this, it doesn't matter. You go all out as high as you can, because it's going to be streaming from a high-end compute, like a cloud computing
server.
engine. So it doesn't matter how much it is, as long as a modern computer, which is everything Google's running on their servers, can handle it, it's there. So you don't have to worry about, bug fixes. That's a thing of the past now. There's no longer something you have to worry about, judge eyes or judgment. Yeah. We got to change this game, and there's going to be people who have like the older version of it. Now you just update what Google has on their servers, and bam, everything is instant updates, instant patches. I don't have to worry about a day one patch. That's gone now. The game is just ready to go.
Yeah,
I understand that there's going to be flaws.
Benefits.
There's going to be issues. I honestly think Google's taking the approach of this is where they see it going. I don't know if it will, but the thing is, if they get in now, they can work out all the issues.
They'd be the front runner
that are going to happen, and then 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when this is what happens, they already have the leg up.
This could theoretically be the NES of this technology.
I mean, when the Switch eventually flips and this becomes the future. Suddenly, even if they're like the bottom competitor right now when they first enter the market, when the Switch eventually flips, they will be ahead of the game. Suddenly, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo will be struggling to find ways to compete with them, or they'll just be jumping on the button and they become like the universal, like we have one platform and that's kind of it. Who knows what's going to happen? And to be clear, people in chat, I'm not talking about Google not having infrastructure. I'm talking specifically about the United States, the world not having enough consistent internet infrastructure.
What I will say, Nick, is there are other countries where this is going to do great because their internet structure is a lot better than it is here. Yeah. Here it's pretty fucked. But there are a lot of the metropolitan areas around here. You can get pretty fast internet for cheap.
Yeah.
But what I will say, Nick, is I see the potential in this, and that one of the issues we have right now is the Switch is great, right? Mm-hmm. But you're limited in what you can play on it.
Yeah.
When you're all of a sudden streaming it, it can play anything. As long as, once again, you have to have latency, and that's something you have to worry about. But as long as you have an internet speed, you can fucking play
anything.
Sekiro at 1080p 60 on a Switch. In theory, all it has to do is have a device that can stream the footage or the footage of the game. Something cool that I think they announced is that you can use any controller. Any modern controller will work. They will be selling their own controller that goes over Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Which I guess in theory eliminates one kind of hop that it has to do. Right now, if I were to use like my Xbox controller, it has to go from my controller to my PC's receiver and then to the internet and then across. Whereas the Wi-Fi controller just goes straight from my controller to their server over Wi-Fi, which could potentially help with lag.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm excited to see where this goes. I played Project Stream. It was not perfect. There were times when I was playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey and I was like, I gotta put this down because it's kind of ruining my experience because it was chuggy and laggy. And there were times when I was playing it and it was fucking smooth as butter and the game looked amazing. Once again, it was very early on.
I know they released a list of all the companies that are going to be at E3, or at least the ones that are on there so far. I'm wondering
if the ones that are going to be.
I'm wondering, has Google announced if they're going to have a place like? I'm wondering, especially since Sony is vacated, like they have a bunch of space. I'm wondering if Google maybe moved in. Like that would be a great place. Although how would you demo that in a convention hall like that? If it's all kind of hinging upon, it's
one of those situations where you just say, "Hey, here's this controller. You're not playing."
Yeah, the whole demo is them like opening a Firefox window. Google Chrome. A Google Chrome window and being like, "Hey, look, it's Assassin's Creed."
I think it's one of those situations where they could have it playing off of like a fucking Raspberry Pi. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to. Look,
it's on my phone. Look.
Yeah, you don't need a lot. That's the same. Like I said, it's the same thing of like the other week on the stream, I tried out PlayStation's streaming
now.
And not now. You can stream.
When?
Yeah, you can stream from your PlayStation to your iPhone. I booted up Devil May Cry 5, and it looked fucking beautiful on my phone. Yeah. And I could imagine like doing something like that where I have like a little device which is like a Bluetooth controller that has like a stand attached to it, so I can mount my phone to it and have this controller, and I could be playing like PS4 games on my phone. But once again, it's still streaming from a console I had to buy.
Yeah.
Eventually, I could see you easily from your phone through Stadia playing like a modern game.
Yeah, and that is the dream, and that is cool. And
Stadia is weird, you guys.
It's a weird name.
It-
I'll say that much.
Let's.
How do we feel about the name?
I'm
not
down
crazy
on the
about
name.
It probably translates better in other languages other than English.
I wonder if there's
What?
like.
Why? Google's an American
I
company.
think they're probably going. For
I mean,
something.
yeah, but they're
They're
going for
a
an international
global
world.
company.
Yeah.
Well, you know where Stadia is plural for stadium, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So they were going for the whole stadium, like everybody's playing together in a stadium kind of thing. Like,
Yeah. But what I mean, like, what's
I
the
think they could
etymology?
I don't know what's the most inspired.
What's the etymology of the word stadium? Like, because it sounds like it's some kind of old Greek or Latin kind of thing, right?
Latin sounds about right, yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. What's
Yeah.
the next news topic?
Yeah, what else? There's still more, isn't
right.
there?
There's one more, and it's probably the most.
It's one.
The biggest one.
We've been saving all
we
of our
already
Randy
talked
Pitchford
about
jokes
Cadence
for
of
this
Hyrule.
Oh
moment.
my god.
Okay.
Here
Oh,
we
God.
already talked about.
We don't need to
Cadence
talk
of
about this for 20 minutes. Gearbox announced Borderlands 3 today at PAX East.
Meh.
All right. That is the story. Let's just leave it
No,
at
the
that.
real story is why is Randy Pitchford on stage?
Okay.
Oh
okay.
my God.
All right. So
We have to talk about the
Oh my God.
presentation.
all right. The presentation was a mess. Okay. Presentation was a mess.
Mess is a kind word.
The I don't even care what the content of the presentation was. At this point, my question is, why is Randy Pitchford up there when he's in the midst of like a PR crisis?
Because he's the face of Gearbox.
I know.
And
I guess
He's the face of Gearbox.
he's just
and
decided that he's
in
not.
and of itself, I feel like should be a problem right now. Like
a little bit.
his
Like,
name.
yeah, like there's a lot of really ugly things flying around about Randy Pitchford right now, and whether or not they're true, which I mean, I guess we
That
don't
is
know.
a lot
I mean,
of
we don't
that
know.
is
We don't
pretty
know.
fucking
but,
crazy.
But like, even if it's not true, I feel like him being so like present and cavalier, like, hey, I'm Randy Pitchford, just pretending like nothing's happening, like I always do, you know,
Like
is like the worst possible approach to this whole thing, right?
we're talking
A
about
little
like lawsuits involving like millions of dollars against Randy Pitchford specifically. We're talking about his name coming up in possible. I don't even like saying.
Well, let's not get into it.
Oh,
then.
God.
yeah,
Bring
it's
it up.
weird.
Really gross
It might
stuff.
not be true, but
It might not be, but like I feel like if, as a company, if you want to sell your game, like, but like the face of your company is like in some potential legal trouble right now, especially like some potential serious legal trouble. Why would you put his? He was on stage almost the entire time.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Although I will say the best
And
tweet
you know,
I
what,
saw
I'll be
about
the first to say, I hope it's not true. I hope that turns out to be all bullshit.
Sure,
but like
yeah,
you got to take it at face value. Like right now, like it's a possibility.
sure, who knows? Like, I mean, yeah, whatever. But my favorite tweet about this whole event was I saw somebody tweeted like, if I worked for Gearbox PR, I would have released the Borderlands 3 trailer by putting it on a flash drive and leaving it in medieval times.
Oh my god. I'm pretty sure that was a Jason Schreier tweet.
Oh, that's what it was.
Probably.
Yeah. So
Oh my
fucking
God.
funny.
And that gave me an idea for
Bless that man.
That also gave me an idea for a pitch for a game I want to put around to a few companies.
No god. Yeah, that's let's just leave it at this. They had a hour-long presentation at PAX.
Which seems like a lot.
It was a lot, especially when everybody was there just to see Borderlands 3. They announced a Borderlands card game, which, okay, if you're into card games,
Oh yeah, it's like
Borderlands,
Tiny
great.
Tina's Exploding Robot Tea
Yeah.
Party or something.
Could be cool.
Yeah.
He spent like 15 minutes doing like a basic ass magic trick on stage with cards.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
He must have been
Because
fancy
he
for them
loves
trying to flex
magic,
it.
Nick. Didn't you know that?
Yeah.
He loves magic.
I do.
He's a magician at heart,
And
really.
then they spent some time talking about their new publishing brand, which or like talking about some of the games the developers they're working with to publish new games.
Yeah.
Yep.
And all of it building up to a reveal trailer for Borderlands 3. And you know what? That trailer didn't like have anything like what
The only
what's going
thing-
on in Borderlands 3.
So first,
like
I'll say this: it's a 3-minute long trailer because of the nature of Borderlands and like what it looks. You know how you used to talk about like games that'll age well, right? You talk about Wind Waker and how that game
Sure.
will always look beautiful because and that's great.
Yeah.
But like, you have an established franchise. Imagine if we were on Legend of Zelda Wind Waker 3 and it had been like 5 or 6 years since Wind Waker 2. just as an example.
Sure.
Because of the
And
nature
like a
of-
bunch of other Wind Waker likes that had like completely revolutionized the Wind Waker like genre had come out
Yes.
since the last one came out.
And
Yeah.
then you put out a trailer for Wind Waker 3.
Yeah.
Because of the nature of the way that game looks, like that game is defined in a lot of ways by the way it looks.
Sure.
Like
sure.
you can't even really tell there's been a generational
If you put
leap.
footage of Borderlands 1, 2, and 3 next to one another and played them all at the exact same time, you couldn't tell the difference.
And to be honest, like
I think
part
the
of that's
character
really- part
designs
of
have
that's
gotten
great.
a little more complicated. Like they're just busier designs nowadays. But like, yeah, they don't look any different. And the gameplay, okay, here's the thing. Despite myself, despite my better judgment, I'm really excited about the idea of a Borderlands 3.
Sure.
Like, I'm definitely kind of like, there's still a part of me that's like, oh man, this could be really looking cool, you know? Like, I can't wait, you know? It's tacky, it's fucking garish, it's gross, it's just dumb, but like, despite all that, I still kind of like it, you know?
I love Borderlands 1
but-
and 2,
But that trailer didn't do anything, didn't do a fucking thing to convince me that this isn't just going to be another lateral sequel like Borderlands the pre-sequel was. Yeah. Borderlands 2 came out in 2012, okay?
Yeah.
Borderlands the pre-sequel came out like I think a year later, maybe 2 years later, and that was not at all like any sort of step forward for the series. That was, if anything, a lateral move, just kind of like a shift.
Standalone expansion.
It was still
practically.
very much like just like Borderlands 2 and just like Borderlands 1. Since then, we've had things like The Division come out. We've had things like Destiny come out. Both of those games got sequels that radically improved and changed them. Like, this whole idea of like these semi like online multiplayer loot shooters have like our conception of them have completely changed, and now Borderlands is coming back and they're now competing in a space that has games like that along with games like the battle royale genre, which has become a thing since the last Borderlands came out, you know? Like, there's all these online shooters that they're going to be competing with, and it doesn't look like they've done anything different than like their kind of half-assed Diablo 2 style 4-player.
Same basic formula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
loot
say
shooter.
this, and you know, maybe it's too early to kind of to know whether or not this is going to be more of a lateral move. It seems to be, the trailer makes it seem like it's going to be. There's a few shots in the trailer that did something for me, and those were the ones where they started to like really pull back and show you
the
the world
environments.
and show the variety.
So
of the
it did look
worlds.
like they're like, because the big thing they've been using in their marketing tags have been like explore the worlds of Borderlands 3,
Yeah.
which is great. I'm so glad we're not going to get another Borderlands game that's just like 90% barren wasteland of Pandora again. You know, like, that's great. And some of those shots, like they showed like the city, like planet and all that shit, like that stuff looked really
that's
fucking cool.
That's the first part I was like,
But
cool.
What does that actually mean? You know, is it just another like instanced area, like another part of their kind of semi-connected open world like they've had in the other games where you can go and do stuff, or does this imply a change of structure? Because when you tell me that this is like a multiplayer loot shooter and you're going to like different worlds and doing different things, and this is just my biases, but I think of like Destiny, you know, that has all these different planets that you're going to, and they're all their own different maps. They all have their own different thing going on, different themes and stuff like that. Is that kind of what Borderlands is doing? And does this indicate that Borderlands is going to be trying to expand like the quote unquote like social aspects of the game? Are they going to be trying to do something more with like having public events or having you know, matchmaking or having like anything that's beyond just like you and three friends playing like a co-op game, you know?
But the thing is, we're not going to start getting those answers to this question. We're not going to get it in packs. We have to wait until April 3rd for some substantial information to start coming out.
Oh, so they've announced when their
You
next
act like
bit of
April
information.
3rd is so long from now.
I mean,
That is-
it's
that is
next
like
week.
next week?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand that. But at the same time, like,
Guys, I don't know if I can make it until next week.
For Bo-
I
I
mean,
don't know if I'll be able to survive waiting a
I
week.
won't.
Yeah.
I won't make it.
but the point is, they're not even giving us a fucking release window.
Who cares?
They might. They might.
cares?
They might. You know what? To be honest, like I would not be surprised if. Well, first of all, you said April 3rd. What are they said? They're
That's
That's all I'll say.
April 3rd is the date that they're releasing those like the re-release of Borderlands, and they're doing like the texture packs for Borderlands 2
We
and
don't have a
pre-sequel,
release.
and
we
it's
don't have a release
also the
window
day
for The Last of Us 2, but we're
that
still
they're-
excited for that game.
that
And that's
they're-
actually going to be good and not bad.
and that's the day that they're actually
Yeah, but we've
like,
also had a
putting
lot
out
more
details
fucking
about
marketing
the game.
content.
okay. I wouldn't be surprised. I
We know
wouldn't
what
be.
to expect.
I wouldn't be surprised if Borderlands 3 when we get more information we get a release window. I wouldn't be surprised if it's out by the end of the year. It seems like the kind of game they've been working on it for a very long time.
I thought we weren't going to spend a lot of time on
I
this
know.
topic.
Sorry.
No, I think this is a good topic to talk about. I mean, this is kind of what we've been talking about with this game up till this point. We were saying, like, what does Borderlands 3 look like in 2019? And we just saw our first look at Borderlands 3, and it's kind of confirming a lot of fears that I've had. Like, this is kind of fucking lame. And this is a big franchise. Like, this is something that, like, as someone who likes the franchise, I don't even get why it's as popular as it is. Like,
True.
For some reason, this inspires a lot of passion in people. I will say, though, I am very glad to see that Reese, at least, is returning.
Oh, from Tales of the Borderlands?
Yeah, from Tales of the Borderlands, which, by the way, is still the best Borderlands anything that's ever been released.
100%.
It's fucking great. And Reese has a mustache now.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And they're teasing more than that. I think they're trying to get like every
Which is great.
single...
It seems like they're rounding up every character they've ever had.
If nothing else, that 3-minute trailer shows a lot of returning characters, new characters, villains, zones, weapons, all kinds of shit. It just looks all kind of like stuff I've seen before. That's all we're saying. Yeah. All right.
The thing about it is that it feels like it's a trailer made for those Borderlands fans, but it doesn't really do
it. Make it for Borderlands
but it doesn't do a
fans.
good job of grabbing new people. And
They
I
don't
think
have
that's
to
what
grab
we
new
need.
people
It's all sizzle. It's no steak.
Yeah.
Basically. But yes, yes. The fact that they didn't lead with anything of like they didn't show anything enticing in as far as like expansion of like the game's model at all, which I feel like if they had that, they would have at least like thrown little touches of that out there to try to spice people up a bit instead of like, hey, the big cool thing in this game is a gun that walks. Like,
yeah. I mean, they had a whole hour they could have filled with details if they wanted to, but they didn't.
Sure, they
all right.
didn't.
Let's move on. We will I'm assuming we will return to this topic when we get more details on it on April 3rd. So
what, next week?
Yeah, next week. Oh. So let's move on from that. There's no more news topics to cover. It is time to get into Patreon stuff. Nolan, do you have the Patreon stuff pulled up?
I do.
I have some supporter spotlight stuff I want to read, but do you want to announce new patrons first, or
I can do that.
Go ahead and do that then.
So I think we only have one new patron. I'm seeing some people we've seen before.
Oh,
I don't know. Patreon's weird. Like literally, I scroll up and I see them previously.
Well, just shout outs anyways. New patrons are welcome.
Previously on
Monam and Joshua.
Yep,
are two new people I see.
Monam and Joshua. Thank you very much. We appreciate your patronage.
We appreciate you.
Again, I want to remind everybody we're doing the Revival Club starting on April 1st. If you're interested in playing Devil May Cry 3 along with us, it's pretty casual, but it's just a great way to experience new stuff, play some old games. We'll be playing Devil May Cry 3 together, and we're starting that April 1st, and all you gotta do is support us at the $3 tier or higher, if you'd like to be a part of that.
So let's get to some questions from our patrons. First question this week comes from Tyler. I recently bought a Switch, and was just wondering, in your guys' opinions, what games would you say play better on the Switch? On the flip side, what games should I maybe stay away from that would play better on a different system?
Well, I could very easily start by recommending Breath of the Wild and Super Mario
well, no, he said plays better on the Switch.
I know, that's what.
Yes,
they play better on the Switch.
Plays better on the Switch than it does on the Wii U.
That's true.
I mean, okay, I'd forgotten about the Wii U.
But that's obviously a fake out answer. The real answer is, I mean, it can be any number of things, but I feel like the Switch has kind of proven itself as to be like a really great.
I mean, I would say
indie machine.
As long as you're not going for one of the more higher tier games, like like a Valkyria Chronicles or something, which honestly does play pretty good on the Switch because that's what I have it on. But I mean, like even Hollow Knight, while it's great on PC, dude, it is a perfect game for the Switch.
I can't even begin to tell you how amazed I am. Like. I loved Hollow Knight playing it on the PC, and there was at launch there was some initial worry about some input lag. They obviously have fixed it since then, and it plays like an absolute dream on the Switch. But like those kinds of like big like popular indie games that you would see that are also very popular on PC tend to play pretty well on the Switch.
The only disadvantage to that is you're going to see sales more on PC than you would on the Switch.
Yeah, for sure.
So that is the kind of thing you're going to run into. But I would not say.
I think it also depends on like if you got to ask yourself: are you the kind of person who's really going to take advantage of playing it on the go, or are you going to be the kind of person who leaves a dock?
So hold on.
Of the time?
So that's the thing, Nick. Is you now have the option. And so in the past, I would often always buy a game on PC over my PS4 or, my Wii U or whatever. But now I tend to kind of lean towards buying it on my Switch because I can dock it if I want to play it on my big TV or my fucking projector, or I can play it in bed, or I can take it with me when I'm going on a trip. I can play it my trip back from Hawaii. I was playing Valkyria Chronicles 4 on the plane. I couldn't have done that if I bought it on PC.
Yep.
And so, I think as long as the price discrepancy is not an insane one, lately I've been buying more games on my Switch. Like Baba Is You, I bought that on my Switch instead of my PC.
And you know what's also great? There's a lot of stuff, and this is like I'm actually pretty excited. Like I said a few times, like I'm going on a trip and I'm taking my Switch, and I feel like I'll have a fair amount of downtime to play and stuff, like bedtime and whatnot, and when I'm traveling, and I'm taking Zelda with me. I'm gonna download Katana Zero. I'm also like I downloaded Final Fantasy 9 on my Switch, which is like one of my favorite games ever. And like that, just the fact that that's even possible is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like the library has kind of become ridiculously large for a system that is so young. Like it is
They're
a ridiculously large
They're
library.
Going quick.
I hope that answers the question to an extent.
Yeah. Next question from Zero Skies. Now that FromSoft has done games in medieval, Victorian, and Sengoku settings, what kind of setting would you like to see from them next?
Ooh.
Cyberpunk futuristic stuff.
Future. I mean, yeah, that would be cool.
I mean, the Surge does exist, but like From Software's take.
Yeah, if From Software is the one who did the Surge, like that would be we'd be having a whole different conversation about the Surge. Crispy looks deep in thought. While he's thinking about that, I want to throw out. I know they've Dark Souls and Bloodborne have been kind of like teetering on the edge of horror, but I would love to see some kind of like high concept horror game from Software, like where it's known for like it has like some kind of like complex combat, that's From Software is known for, but like at its core, like it's about scaring people. But I'm trying to imagine what a open world game that is like literally built the idea of like creating a horror experience would be like from Software. Like that would be fucking incredible. Like I know Bloodborne is kind of a horror game, but like I also don't really see it that way because Bloodborne shares a lot of common with Dark Souls, and I feel like that's still very high fantasy. Like I'm talking like I don't know what I would even throw out there as an example, but like maybe something Lovecraftian or something psychological. I don't know, but just something that is like totally different from Dark Souls, but with the same like design
Bloodborne
mentality.
Is totally Lovecraft.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
A Western.
Sorry,
Let them do a cowboy game.
Oh shit.
You know what? To be totally
would be
honest,
something.
I'd kind of
Because
Okay.
let me,
Cool.
you know what I will put out there as like a perfect example of what that might look like: the manga Priest. If you've ever heard of that, you probably haven't. But it was I don't remember the guy's name. It was a South Korean artist. I remember reading it in high school, and it's like it's a Western story, but it's real fucking dark gothic horror shit, like demons and devils and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it seems very
Shadow
FromSoft.
Step has the answer right there, though.
Dark Souls meets Evil Within. Yes, that's maybe the Evil Within is kind of what I'm thinking of.
Exploring nightmares.
Yeah, but like think of the Evil Within 2, like the kind of the open city environment, but like
Yeah.
built by the people who made fucking Dark Souls and Sekiro. Like that could be
I can see
fucking
it.
amazing.
Tell me.
Next question from Illumination. What is something that is really popular now, but in 5 years everyone will look back and be embarrassed by it? Ooh.
Battle
I feel like
Royale.
something immediately popped into Crispy's head, and I want to know what it was.
Well, I mean, like Fortnite, definitely, right? I mean,
Do you think
I
we'll be
saw
embarrassed
like
by it?
when we saw that like Five Nights at Freddy's thing during whatever, I was like, oh wow, like,
We have officially got
like
reached
oh,
that
remember
point.
when like all the kids were into that 5 years ago?
Yep, it's true.
Yeah.
Like us.
Yeah, I wasn't into
We
it.
streamed
You guys
that.
made me be into it.
Oh
God.
that's a good question.
I feel like there are a lot of kids today who will grow up and see like old screenshots or gifs of Fortnite and be like, wow.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's just all kinds of like crazy, weird like shit involving like just the way people like experience and like get excited about Fortnite that I just don't understand. You know what I mean? Like there's like people like there's videos of people like freaking out because of Fortnite shit.
I really think
You
it's a. I really think it's a. They met a demand that was not being met.
So my thing is, it's hard to see like what's not going to be cool in the future, but it's not. It's less for me. It's like
Pokemon
what's
Go.
not going to be popular.
No.
Dude, people are still playing that. It's not so much
But
what's
in
going to
5
be
years,
popular.
I feel like we'll all feel silly.
Oh, dude, I
Yeah,
miss
like
playing
when
Pokemon
CNN
Go.
does their like remembering the 2010s or whatever, and they do the segment on Pokemon Go, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my god, remember when we were
Just a,
Pokemon
just a
Go."
slow panning
Like-
shot of like people sitting in like people. Nolan talked about sitting in front of the library at like 2 a.m. in downtown Round Rock.
Dude,
playing Pokemon Go.
I look back on those memories like happy. Like I was talking about I was like, man, do you remember the happier time before this current presidency?
how much better
when
our life was with
When me and
Pokemon
you were literally just after work, we'd go out and just kind of hang out and catch Pokemon. That was a fun time for me.
Like
then-
you're
and then-
you're underestimating people's
And then the
love for
election came.
Pokemon. Like
Yes, pretty much.
next year when there's Pokemon Go 2, Electric Boogaloo, and they have like the next generation of Pokemon featured.
Pokemon
like,
Let's Go is kind of Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
not really.
hold on. Let's I think the harder part about this is trying to find something that people will be embarrassed by, because I don't think there's too many things that people are embarrassed by. No, you say
Dude,
remember
because
fidget spinners.
remember
The
fidget
people with
spinners.
those were embarrassed while they were using them.
That
That
is-
was
Yeah.
not something
I
that
mean,
you have to
how are-
remember being embarrassed
How are
by.
like
Hacks.
vapes still a thing? You know?
Oh god,
Like-
vaping.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
is true.
god.
Now vape. I don't know about
We're-
vaping. That might
In
stick
5
around,
years,
unfortunately.
we're finally gonna find out that like vaping actually causes you to develop cancer like 100 times faster than smoking cigarettes,
A new
and then
type
people,
of
and then they're gonna
cancer.
just die out immediately.
Super
cancer.
You're
It's gonna-
supposing that they're not going to get banned this
Super
year.
cancer. Yeah, vaping is gonna cause super cancer, and we're all gonna feel like idiots.
All right,
Oh my
anyway,
God.
let's move on. Final question from our patrons this week from Fuzzy Turd. You were forced to hotbox
Oh god, not this
and
one.
any video game character's farts for 2 hours while being forced to mash bananas.
That's not a.
Wait,
Mashed bananas?
While being forced to mashed bananas?
I think I thought he meant to say while being forced to eat mashed.
It just
bananas.
says to mashed bananas.
I think.
Who do you
All right.
choose and why?
Yeah, but wait, what? What is that part of it?
Well, I think I'm imagining you're in a box, like Bayonetta's farting into it, and you're being forced to just step on bananas.
Oh, you're being hotboxed. You're not hotboxing somebody else.
Yeah.
No, of course not. Gross.
I mean,
They're both gross. I don't know why.
Wait, no.
making
I'm
that
so-
differentiation.
I'm so confused. What?
You said, do you remember, Chris? Do you
So
remember?
why?
hold on,
Where did
hold
you
on,
get
hold
that
on,
the
hold on.
bananas were being mashed with your feet?
Do you remember the 90s when we were in school and a guy would always come to the school and they'd have a fucking box with a fan in it and you'd go in there and you'd catch the money and that was like the thing?
They brought
money
that to your
booth?
school?
Yeah, so it'd be like that.
I
We didn't
remember
have
the guy
that.
that came to our school and like made a kid play GoldenEye on a big screen on stage, and
We
then
never
when
got to
he
do
died was like, "There's no reset button in life," and whipped the fucking tablecloth off the table
Oh.
that the game
Thought he
console
whipped
was
the
on,
kid.
and it was a coffin.
Oh, Jesus.
That was a presentation.
So,
in my
so anyway,
school.
hold on. I imagine.
It was all
Hold
about
on,
like
hold on.
fucking education
I
did they
just,
get?
I just imagine you being in a box and like fucking like I don't know, Master Chief is sitting on top of it, just constantly farting in it, and you're just having to grab bananas and they're like mashing
Okay. Couple things. First of all,
for 2 hours.
First of all, Crispy, how did you make it so many episodes without telling that video game related story?
I don't remember. Like I just remember.
Did we
this-
just bring that back, rushing back?
No, I like it just never came up. I guess it was weird. I don't even
It
remember.
didn't come up today.
I don't
Yeah.
remember what that assembly was about, but I think it was about gun violence, and it was really weird. Like there was a coffin on stage and
I
everything.
mean, you are from Florida.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. The second thing is, Nolan, I'm fairly certain that the question has to do, I think it was a typo, it's supposed to be eating mashed bananas.
That's not what it says.
Yeah,
though.
okay, but who's eating the mashed bananas? You or the person farting?
I think it's
Do mashed bananas make you farty?
I think it's because, like, try to imagine being hotboxed while eating anything. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because
like,
it gets in your mouth.
It would
Okay,
make,
but
oh, God,
specifically
gross.
mashed banana. Like, why not mashed potatoes?
That's what I
Mashed
thought.
potatoes
I thought
are
it was
delightful.
mashed-
Like you're saying mashed bananas, like that's a thing people just eat that aren't babies, you know? Like,
Well, I think he's saying that because it's a weird thing. It almost because I think when you're eating mashed
I
bananas,
think this question
it can
needed
be-
a little bit
the
more
thing
work.
is, you're smelling the fart. The fart particles are going up your nose as you're
I
eating something
get it.
squishy
I
and
get it, but-
soft, and it
but
kind of
why
feels like you're eating.
banana-
Because it feels like you're eating poo poo.
Why not mashed potatoes? That feels more like poo poo, and it's not like your pleasant banana taste.
Your poos
It's-
like are
it's
like mashed potato
turn off our
consistency.
No,
I mean, I guess
but,
mine
like-
aren't banana
But
consistency.
I don't think bananas
I guess-
are more like poop than mashed potatoes.
I think they.
I don't like this question. We're done with this. What's the next question?
I think bananas are way more like
We
poop
haven't
than mashed
answered the
potatoes.
question.
No, we have done as much answering. as
I
we can.
answered the question.
That's all that's necessary.
If your poop is like mashed potatoes, Crispy, you might want to go see a doctor.
Fuck off. First of all. Second of all, my point was that if the mash consistency was what you were going for, bananas aren't a better pick than potatoes. And if, like, okay. No, we're in the fucking
your
weeds.
trigger fruit or
We're in the
something?
fucking weeds on this one, and I don't know why. Like, he just said, like, oh, eating mashed bananas. Like he goes home and eats mashed bananas every fucking day. Like,
I don't think he does, and I think that's the point.
yeah, but why? Okay, but then why? Like, why does being hotboxed with, like, a video game character's farts need that extra weirdly specific twist?
Because he said so.
Next question!
Because he supports us on Patreon, damn it.
So that's all the questions from Patreon. We do have some questions from our Twitch supporters. The first one this week being from Mr. Green Toast. With the recent Gearbox livestream fail of their Borderlands 3 trailer having frame drops and having to rerun it again, do you recall any other gaming events where similar fails happen?
Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
Uncharted
4 had issues, yeah, in the whatever the
chase
village or
level?
whatever,
The Madagascar
wherever he
town.
just stopped and he's just standing there and people are like walking around.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit.
All right, I will say this. This is why specifically I don't think there's any shame. I know why it's a good thing to like want to do a live demonstration of your game. I think there's no shame, especially when you're showing a product that isn't complete. There's no shame in just running a pre-recorded video.
There's not.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I get the appeal of wanting to show them that like this is actually how it looks. But like, if you're risking potentially fucking up your demo so that no one will ever forget it, like, come on, just.
So yeah, no, that was the one I wanted to bring up. Scarecrow said it in chat. When they first showed Skyward Sword, they were showing it on the Wii.
God, that
and
was
the
a
camera flashes fucked up the Wii remote sensor, and so it just didn't fucking work.
Well, not just that. Like that entire E3 presentation.
That one
was
was
just problems.
bad. That
Wii
Nintendo
Music.
one.
Well, what about...
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you guys were talking about Konami 2010. What about that one?
I mean, the thing about the Konami E3 2010 presentation was that it all worked. It just that it was the worst
Just nobody
presentation
cared.
you've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad, though.
I can't remember. I feel like I was in the room for the Skyward Sword demonstration. I'm pretty sure I was.
Maybe.
And talk about being... You know how uncomfortable cringe videos make me?
Yeah.
That was like the most uncomfortable moment.
What?
Being in the room while he was like Miyamoto's up there trying to do the Skyward Sword
thing,
demonstration,
yeah.
and it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
People were taking, like you said, pictures, and the flash was going off, and he just like the sensors just weren't having it, and he was like, and he just like he didn't know what to
what do
say,
you do?
or like he was like,
And the one guy
I
was
promise
like,
it works.
that one guy was like, did you turn off your Wi-Fi on your phone? Or did you turn off your phones? Because they were worried about the phones
really?
interfering with the
I don't
signals.
remember that.
oh god,
Lightsaber on.
Oh.
That was kind of awkward.
That one Xbox conference that people were watching on their Xboxes, and he was saying like you can turn off your console by saying connect, power off, and it was like turning people's consoles off.
Nice.
That is beautiful. That is a thing. Like, you know what's funny? If that had happened to me, I would have just sat there with my jaw open for a second and been like, well, I guess I'm done
my
watching
God.
that.
What the fuck?
That led to a very fun but brief meme.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Beautiful. All right, next question.
I'm sure there's other stuff, but yeah. From Beck. Devil May Cry 3 has some of the sickest cutscenes of all time. What cutscenes from any game would you consider to be, quote, best of all time list? Ooh. That's some... There's a lot.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. Like, I
All
used to think when I was back in the day, I used to think that like cutscenes were like my favorite thing in the world. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I loved playing games because I loved getting cutscenes. I thought they were awesome.
Yeah.
We are moving in a direction where like the shit that gets me most is the shit that happens organically in the game.
Well, I think it's because back in the day,
Yeah.
the cutscenes, they could do a lot more with them than they could do in gameplay.
Yeah.
But now it's becoming, you can do just as much in the gameplay as you can in the cutscenes, and a lot of more modern games have in-engine cutscenes anyway.
Yeah.
Just because engines are getting good enough to the point where they don't have to pre-render shit.
Yeah.
Like, I would A good example I would point to is the intro sequence to Metal Gear Solid 2.
Metal Gear Solid.
That's a good one.
That's
Leaping off the bridge.
That's a good
and,
one.
That is
you know,
in fact, I would say there's a lot of cutscenes in Metal Gear Solid.
any
2
of the Metal Gear Solid
Metal Gear
games,
Solid 2
yeah.
and 3 specifically have some incredible cutscenes, and what am I saying? And 4 has some incredible cutscenes. One that always jumps out to me, and this is more of an FMV. I don't know if we're lumping it in the same thing, but the opening cutscene to Onimusha 3 is still like one of the sickest things I've ever fucking seen. Like, it's like Devil May Cry 3 levels of like insane cutscenes.
Personal favorite of mine would be the intro cutscene for StarCraft Brood War.
Ooh,
Watch that a
that's
shit
a good.
ton.
That's a good.
And
one.
a little like kind of addendum to that is also they released a cinematic. I think it was supposed to be an intro, but like a full cinematic cutscene for StarCraft Ghost. That was really cool.
I remember that.
That was really good.
yeah,
It was
I
like
remember
the whole Terran army like on a battlefield like fighting
I used to
Zerg and shit. It was really
I used to fucking
cool.
love the intro to Final Fantasy VIII.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that was the fucking
Oh, yeah.
the fucking
everything. The
gunblade
swords
fight,
fights, you
yeah.
know, the field Renoa in the fields, and just like so much shit happens in that cutscene. But once again, that was back when the cutscene looked so much better than the game. It's funny because when I was playing Dragon Quest XI last year, the in-game looked better than the cutscenes.
Yeah.
Because they pre-rendered the cutscenes at like 1080p, but I was playing the game at like 4K.
Yeah.
And so my game looked better every time I went into a cutscene. I was like, ugh, like what?
Yeah.
There's a the parade.
The parade in
in
Final Fantasy
VIII.
is fantastic.
Um,
Final Fantasy 8 and 9, I think, both have
They had
some
some pretty good
incredible
cutscenes. Man, I'm having trouble remembering some. I know there's a lot. There's a lot of good.
But
Like,
he does mention Devil May Cry 3, which we're going to be playing for the Rebel Club next month, has some excellent cutscenes.
Dude, so hold on. One of my favorite cutscenes in games in the past, even just few years. I say few years. That game came out in like 2013. The scene in the ranch house with Joel and Ellie when Ellie runs away, and you have to go and find her.
I need to
And
replay
that's the cutscene of her, him telling her, "You'd be better off if you went with my brother."
she takes
Yeah.
the horse.
Yeah,
Oh,
and,
yep.
and that
Dude, The
whole,
Last of Us has some fucking
oh yeah,
amazing
every cutscene.
cutscenes.
But I'm saying that one in particular.
Dude, what the fuck are we talking about? Anything
When
from
when
Naughty
when
Dog.
she talks about she's like, "I'm not your daughter," and he's like, "Ooh," that fucking triggers him, and he's like, "You were on mighty thin ice."
Yeah.
That whole cutscene, every fucking time, that gets me.
You know what's a tragedy? This might be a shameful secret. of
We're
mine.
gonna watch that after the show because Nick doesn't remember.
No, I remember it.
No,
Here's
we're
the
gonna
thing.
watch it anyway.
My shameful secret is that, like, as much as I fucking love The Last of Us, I have only played it once.
I've played it like 5 times.
I need
fucking love
I need to
that
fucking
game.
play that. I've had the
Yes.
the re-release for a long
Nick,
time.
play it.
So good.
It looks so much
The
better than it
PS4
did on
version
PS3.
is amazing.
It looks so
Yeah.
much better. It plays so much better, and
That
you know what?
photo mode.
It gets you heartstrings every time.
You know what? I still,
Two more.
I lied. I still fucking love cutscenes.
Two more brief ones, real quick. The reveal of the zombie in Resident Evil.
The first one?
That's a good
I mean,
one.
that's classic.
That's a fucking classic.
yeah.
But I don't know if you classify this really as a cutscene, but like the intro to Dead Space 2 when the guy turns into a necromorph.
Oh, that's not
that
a
was
cutscene, but you mean
fucking incredible.
that all happened pretty organically. But
Yeah.
you're right. That is an amazing moment for
Ooh,
sure.
the first time you encounter a chrysalid in XCOM,
Oh,
when it like zooms in on them and you see them fucking popping out. I don't know. It's a
You're
little.
like,
That's like a 30-second, if even cutscene. But
Actually,
anyway.
no, I take it back. The ending of Dead Space 2, just that entire sequence is like.
But I would also say Dead Space.
Perfect.
Dead Space as a series is not really a series that even has cutscenes.
The intro cutscene to Devil May Cry 3.
Is fucking
It's
phenomenal.
fucking cool.
I can't wait to play that starting on Monday.
All right,
Anyways.
moving on. We
Next
got a
question.
couple more questions. Ultima Inferno. With the difficulty of Sekiro bosses, what would you consider your, quote, hardest Souls boss or action non-Souls boss?
Ares from God of War 1.
Just like
remember
I
that
don't
fight.
remember
one
that
that
fight.
sticks out to me, like, I mean, I beat him, and I probably had more trouble with other bosses since, but the first one that really, like, imprinted in my mind was the fucking kings. The 5 kings, 3 kings.
Oh, yeah.
The ones in the abyss.
in the abyss,
arc.
yes.
Oh, fuck those
Yeah,
guys.
where you have to wear that ring to go
Yeah.
down
Yes.
and fight the kings.
That one actually didn't have
4
too much.
kings, I think it was.
4 kings.
Yeah. Oh my
For me, it was in
God.
Dark Souls. It was what were the 2 knights?
Ornstein and Smough.
Ornstein
Oh,
and Smough.
yes.
Oh my god, dude, that fucking boss
Yeah,
fight.
that
Fuck.
was
The
rough.
that boss fight spawned a GIF, which is the best representation of Dark Souls, which is the naked guy running into that room, turning around and bowing, and Ornstein just shoving a spear up his ass. And that is the perfect representation of Dark Souls and how I felt with that fucking game.
Oh, I love that game.
ROM.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fuck
man.
ROM.
Oh,
What, the
wrong.
vacuous spider?
Yes.
That one's pretty easy.
Oh, wait.
Fuck you.
From
You just need to
Bloodborne?
get good.
Rom had no.
3 days, Nick.
You just need to get good.
3 days I
Didn't take me
tried
3 days.
to
It took
beat
me
that
like 4
fucking
tries.
asshole.
Hey,
The thing about Rom
Wait,
is
what?
you got to kill him quick because if
The
you
faster
don't,
you go,
Yes.
it makes
That
it
is
easier,
Bloodborne, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, that's Bloodborne.
let me just tell you.
that's like halfway.
I'm gonna go ahead. Is this? Am I Dark Souls? Am I Dark Soulsing right? I beat that in like my second try.
There you go.
Fuck you.
There you go.
Am I doing it right?
Everyone has their own fights that they
I
have
know. I'm
trouble
just
with.
kidding. I
all have
spent
our own
2
troubles.
hours last night on a mini boss. That took when I
That is
finally
true,
beat him
Green.
took me about 45 seconds to kill. So there's that. That happens. Anyways, good question. Next question.
Next question from Zerby.
Sorry.
Oh, never mind. That's not a question. He was just talking to someone else.
Never mind.
Final question from Thorax. Nick. Brad gives you shit for enjoying Alan Wake. What games do you give Brad shit for liking?
First of all,
Brad can't defend himself.
Yes,
let's crush him.
Shots at Brad.
We will now allow you to speak for 20 minutes.
First of all, let me just say this. Brad doesn't give me shit for enjoying Alan Wake. He gives me shit for considering Alan Wake to be one of my favorite games ever. That is what he gives me shit about, because he likes Alan Wake too. But I still staunchly defend my decision. That is one of my favorite fucking games. I fucking love it. As far as what... Do I?
Give Brad shit. Give it
Oh,
to him.
God.
What are some of the games Brad likes?
Oh, God.
Shit. I
He
don't know.
does have impeccable taste. I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
I don't know,
what
man.
Brad
Somebody
likes.
pull up a list of his top 10 games.
Unfortunately, me and Brad have similar styles in the
I mean,
games
I'll
we
be honest.
so-
Like, I wouldn't give him shit about it because I don't understand. Just because I don't understand it doesn't mean it's not warranted. Like, I don't really get his fascination or obsession with Tekken. Like, I couldn't play the game for more than 5 minutes without
He's an
wanting to
idiot.
move on. I mean,
Dumb.
Fighters are so stupid.
I mean,
Stupid.
but that is just me like not having any. Like, I don't play fighters really. Like, it is a miracle if I play a fighter for more than a couple hours. So, I don't know.
I would ask
Bad
why
people
he...
like Tekken.
why does
hates,
he like muds? I'd rather eat mud
Oh
than
yeah,
play a
fuck!
mud.
What the fuck is with the muds?
Oh,
Good
don't,
point.
Yeah.
Hang on. Don't,
I'm sorry.
just,
I'm sorry.
just calm down, okay? A game doesn't have to have good graphics to be engaging.
Yes, it does. I'm just kidding.
We're not
I'm
talking about
just kidding.
graphics, just muds in general.
I'm just kidding.
Just calm
But,
down.
why does he despise certain games? Like, why is his hatred of Spyro so strong?
What, dude? What's that one game that you hate? Like I get
Yarny, Unraveled.
yes. Let's turn it on Chris Davis.
No,
Yeah,
Let's
fuck
destroy
that
him.
guy.
Hold on.
What's wrong with
I
you?
don't
Yarny.
hate Unraveled.
Yeah, you
I have never hated Unraveled.
He just
I played
prefers
Unraveled
the
too.
division.
I just fucking
You and I played
hated how they
Unravel
did
2
that
for like 45
presentation.
minutes.
Fucking Pele. I hate Pele. There you go.
Okay. How about Far Cry 5? You seem to like. I get not liking Far Cry 5, but you seem to like have an unnatural like knee jerk like.
I could write an
hate-
essay about how much I hate that
I
game.
know that I find to be strange.
You would.
That's not strange.
What if I did?
Far Cry 5
What if I did?
By all means, we have a website where you could post an essay about
Well-
it if you want.
That's all the questions from our supporters on Patreon and Twitch. Like Nick had kind of mentioned earlier, every week we post a thread on Patreon where if you give $1 or more, you can ask us any question you want. Or
Literally
if you are-
anything. Hotboxing.
You got some of the ones we got today. If you are a supporter on Twitch instead of Patreon, there is a supporter channel in our Discord at discord.gg/4player where you can ask us those questions.
Yep.
What are you,
and last thing we want to do,
toddler?
Patreon. This is our last show of the month, and we do have a supporter spotlight for the month, Farrakhan, who I want to just read the last few responses. Did we already do his top 5 games of all time? Oh
I don't think so. Or I wasn't on the podcast
Oh my
when
god,
we
we may
did.
not have time to go through all these questions, so I might have to let some of them lead into next week. But
Yeah, but
let's read his top 5 games of all time, shall we?
yeah.
All right. In no particular order, other
Oh,
than
fuck
how
you.
young to old I was.
Order them.
Halo Combat Evolved, because I was like 6 years old and the differing environments were cool. The
Who let you play
That was an
Halo
incredible
Combat
game.
Evolved
the
when you were
music was
6?
bitching. The music in
So
Halo is still bitching.
good.
It's never stopped being.
The Flood were incredibly scary.
It
I
sucks
hate-
that the guy who made the music is like a full-on fucking fascist.
Oh, really? That's
Marty O'Donnell.
Oh
That's,
yeah.
oh
He's
God,
bad.
that's
Really?
unfortunate.
He's bad.
I didn't know
and
that.
And my first co-op experiences ever with my older brother showed me how fun cooperative multiplayer could be. And Brad, who's not here, I'm sorry, quote unquote, I play Turok with other games OSTs, unquote, Simons can take his million classic Doom clones and shove it.
Fuck that game.
Damn, he's not even here to he's not even here to defend
He
himself.
did our job better than
You
us.
didn't even say anything about
I know,
Brad.
he did a better job ripping Brad a new one than I did. Number 4, Jet Set Radio Future. Once again, for an incredible soundtrack and also for showing young me just what pure style and fun movement was like in a video game. Understand the concept of love? What? I don't know. I'm confused. Okay. Oh, he's moving on to the next one. The world ends with you. Not just scratching the style OS soundtrack itch I'd felt ever since Jet Set Radio, but delivering a personal message to me about expanding your world through other people, which is exactly what closed-off, lonely me needed to hear at the time. Insert comment about Brad and his shitty opinions on this game here. Sorry, once again, Brad not here to insert his...
Wait, which game was that?
The World Ends With You. It was
okay.
that Kingdom Hearts looking DS game. But
Really
not
strange
Kingdom Hearts.
DS game.
I just compare it a lot.
Which recently just came out for the
Looks
Switch.
similar.
Which did come out for the Switch.
Hey.
Let's see. Red Dead Redemption. There we go. Partially because it's a fun cowboy video game, but also because I played it in just the right period of quote-unquote, oh no, all my friends are in other classes and we can't eat lunch together, quote-unquote, high school angst and depression. And so the game utterly destroyed me emotionally. Bury me not on the lone prairie.
Oh.
Damn. Yes. Thank you.
That's a good one.
That game does some crazy shit. I'm so glad you mentioned it. And finally, Persona 4 Golden. Because I like RPGs, but also because I played it right after Red Dead Redemption, and this comfy, funny, incredibly yellow game was exactly what my lonely soul needed. Rise is best girl, fight me. Other games might...
Rise?
Rise is
Rise?
best...
You
Rise?
say R-I-S-E?
I think it might be an autocorrect. Was it Ray? Or is that...
Rise? Rise? What? Who's he talking about?
I think he's talking about Ray. Is it Ray in Persona... I think Rise is a autocorrect. I could be wrong. I don't know.
I don't remember all the Persona 4 characters. It's been a while since I played it.
Her name is spelled Rise and pronounced
Rise.
Rise.
That's what I said.
Okay. I didn't know. Okay, that's the I'm guessing her name is different in the English version. I don't know.
I think that's just how her name's pronounced.
Oh, I don't remember that character.
Oh,
Anyways,
Rise. She was the model, like the whatever, the actress, whatever.
Okay, I never got that.
You
far.
guys are dumb.
I know. I'm so dumb. Anyways,
Right?
he
Am I thinking of the right one?
says. Oh God. Rise is best girl. Fight me. Other games might be technically better and certainly much more recent, but these were the ones that impacted me the most and have influenced my personality and taste for years. And so thank you very much. That's a pretty colorful
what you
list.
do.
I appreciate that.
It's good stuff.
I'll do one more thing from him this week, which is we asked him what is a game he considers to be underrated that you wish more people would play. And he said, also, this is actually a great just time to mention, these are the kinds of suggestions that would make great inspired Revival Club suggestions. He says, cough, Travis Strikes Again, cough.
Yeah.
Oh.
Travis Strikes Again.
Travis Strikes Again.
So no, is it called, is No More Heroes not in the title? Or is
It's in there, but
I can't
it's like
Yeah,
a,
it is.
He says God Hand would be a good pick, so more people could appreciate its purity.
Yeah.
The Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games were
that's a good
successful
one.
enough to have 5 of them,
Supposedly.
even if the last 3 sucked. But it always feels like I'm the only one who mentions how great Rescue Team and Explorers were.
Dude,
So
that
would be my pick.
I've used those before as examples of good fucking Pokemon games because they take the fucking franchise and don't just have you go from point A to point B doing battles.
Man, we haven't talked about those games in a while.
Yeah.
But he says, but seriously, why am I the only person who's played Travis Strikes Again? I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe I should play Travis Strikes Again.
Yeah,
That's a
time.
great suggestion. But anyways, thank you.
That was a good list, Farrakhan.
Yeah, thank you, Farrakhan, for submitting your answers. I'll read the last few questions on next week's show. And actually, I had a really interesting idea that I might pitch for supporter spotlight stuff to get more people involved on a weekly basis, so people aren't waiting like a month to get it. So, anyways,
Okay.
That's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that later. But Farrakhan, thank you very much for submitting your top 5 and whatnot. But now, Nolan,
What up?
let's wrap the show up with the 4-player minute. I don't know
I'm
why I'm
sorry.
pointing to you. You do.
I go
Patreon
second.
stuff.
Brad goes first.
Sorry. We're going to wrap the show with the 4-player minute. Chris Davis, are you ready to go? You're in Brad's spot.
okay.
Channel Brad. I'm just kidding. Give us
Do
your own
it.
personal.
60 seconds on the
Hype,
clock.
sweat, thank you or fuck you.
First off, 60 seconds with Brad doesn't exist.
On the clock.
Yeah, whatever. My first hype this week is going to go towards Sekiro. Evidently, I'm further along than I anticipated, but like just this world is really grabbing me by just. You think I'm going to say no? I'm not even going to fucking say it. No, that wasn't what I was going to say. Okay. But just the fucking. Everything that's going on in this world is so cool to me. Just the character work that's being done for a named NPC, a named protagonist in a fucking Souls game with a background story and motivation. That's something I've never experienced in a From Software game. I'm really excited about that.
It is a nice departure.
And plus, it's got good stealth and incredible agility and verticality.
You know what? They do the story thing. I know I don't agree with you on like how you feel about Dark Souls stories, but it is cool that they did this departure and they're doing it well.
Yeah.
Like they show they can do both.
Yes, they are. My second hype is for The Division 2. I haven't reached the end game yet, but I put 25 hours into it. And just everything I'm hearing about what people keep finding and exploring and seeing what else is in the world. Plus, like next week they're launching like a brand new stronghold for you to explore that's the size of fucking Roosevelt Island. Like there's so much I'm looking forward to playing in this game, and I probably haven't even scratched the fucking surface.
No, you're still under 100 hours.
Yeah, I'm under 100 hours, just 25 hours. My third hype this week is for E3. Today we bought our airfare, and
this couch,
these two
right here,
going to Los
this
Angeles
is our E3 team right
alone.
here. Chris Davis and myself.
Oh, no.
Well, I mean, y'all could hop on if y'all want.
We're gonna.
Nick's gonna have no one to bitch about Chris Davis' snoring with.
Oh my god. Oh my lord.
But yeah, we've got our E3.
We got it.
Travel done, and we're starting to plan things out. And I'm like,
done.
I know some people are kind of like down on this E3 because Sony's not there, and there's a lot of air. Like, you know, we're in the last year of this generation. What can we really expect? It's kind of a mystery. But holy shit, I'm actually pretty fucking excited because these are the kinds of E3s in which you start getting those next gen announcements that they don't call next gen, and these games that are gonna be coming out that are gonna just blow our fucking minds like 2 or 3 years.
Left fielders.
These out of left fielders that you don't expect at all.
Left fielders. I'm just saying, a lot of those announcements were coming from Sony.
No.
That's all I'm saying. Like, I hope Microsoft really picks up the slack here.
I hope Microsoft does.
They're gonna need to.
I think
still
the third
trying to figure
parties.
out what the other hall is gonna be filled with. Like, I know Nintendo will be
They'll
there.
figure it out.
Microsoft. Are they gonna have a booth on the floor?
Yeah, they're back at E3.
Plenty of people
They're
peddling
taking
wares.
over the Sony space, from what I understand.
Okay.
So they're going to have a lot to show.
The Nintendo and Microsoft hall. Interesting. All right. No.
And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nick, Sony don't what Nintendo do.
Wait, you just wanted to say that.
All right.
And my fuck you of the week goes to hotboxing, because why would you do that to somebody? That's just rude.
Why would you?
So my 4-player
people are
minute
into
starts
that,
now. My hype, Cadence of Hyrule, obviously. Super fucking excited for that game. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm going to play the
I
shit
have a
out
question.
of
Did
it.
you always put emphasis on, or did you always say Hyrule like that?
Hyrule.
Every time you said Hyrule.
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 Cadence of Hyrule.
just curious.
Whatever.
It's too
That's
late.
a fine way to say it. I was just wondering.
I do what I do because I do it. My sweat goes to Devil May Cry 5 because I have not touched it in fucking like 2 weeks or something like that. And I don't have any plans on touching it anytime soon
That's
just because
what
there's
she
way
said.
too many other games to play right now that are better. So we'll see what happens with that. Did my emphasis on 5, was that okay? 5? Devil
Yes.
May Cry 5?
Yes.
Is that okay? Okay.
Well, that's
thank
only
you
one syllable, so.
is going to go to Brace Yourself Games and Nintendo for fucking getting together to make Cadence of
Making a
Hyrule.
baby.
Yeah, dude, and fucking keeping it under wraps until like 2 months or 3 months before it's coming out. Super excited for that. Thank you for Nintendo letting someone else take your baby and go with it to make something very unique.
It's very exciting.
And then my fuck you is going to go to Sekiro and From Software. I don't know who's to blame for this. It's just the issues I've been having on PC, the fact that I have to unplug every one of my monitors to get it to play at a good frame rate. But one. I don't unplug all of them.
There's so many monitors.
How do you play without a monitor?
There's
My
Chris,
wall
you were here when I talked about it. There's like a glitch. I don't know why. It's all over the internet. I don't know if there's a solution for it yet. But if you have more than one monitor plugged in, the game runs at 22 frames a second.
Oof.
Which is not going to be...
But that's not affecting me, so I'm confused too.
Yeah. So as soon as I unplug all but one, it runs at 60. And then I found a mod. I don't understand why in 2019 do game developers limit you to like 60 frames a second on PC? Just fucking let me unlock that shit. Let me fucking play it at the refresh rate of my monitor. Like, come on. Why do I have to find a mod online that lets me unlock it?
Well, when has From Software ever done a good PC port?
But this isn't like
At
this
launch.
isn't. Hey, we're launching this game, and like 4 months later, we're gonna put it on PC. Came out day and date.
Yeah.
This wasn't like we'll get to it.
If it wasn't ready
it
at
was
launch, they shouldn't have
planned.
released it at launch. But...
And like I said, unlocking the frame rate isn't fucking hard.
No. It's a command line thing, practically.
Yes, like why? I don't know. Anyway, like that's not it's an issue with the software and how the port works on PC. It's just a fucking one line of code that locks the frame rate. Anyway,
It's the
like I said,
intentional choice for
moving
some stupid
on.
reason. All right,
that's it.
Crispy.
All right, my hype this week is for something I haven't been hyped for a while. No Man's Sky.
Oh,
VR.
dude,
my
No
God.
Man's Sky.
I might buy a VR headset for this shit.
I hope that's good, man.
I don't know, man. I mean, the game's already pretty good, and I know what VR does to a game, and I'm just sitting there thinking about like flying around in my spaceship with a VR headset, like.
And it has multiplayer now too.
Shit. Yeah. Four person
for a year.
I know, but
Yeah.
think about it. VR.
Yeah.
You and I could go
We
exploring.
could
together
go
in
VR exploring together. It'd be so good. It'd be so great.
If
You
you
could
could look at each
eventually
other's
find one
VR
there.
spaceships.
Yeah. It's like I'm touching you.
You can see whose rocket is longer.
Oh God.
My other hype is
You could
for
dock each other's rockets
my
in VR.
other hype, Nolan. How dare you? How dare you? My other hype is for MK11 because the State of Play actually did have a new Mortal Kombat 11 trailer.
Yep, and they showed 3 new
And-
characters, or not new characters, but returning.
Right,
characters.
returning characters, and it still looked
So
pretty cool.
who they had?
It
They had
does.
Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and
Jax.
Jax.
Jax,
Right.
yeah.
And all 3 of those characters look pretty good. Like
Am I crazy? Did they not have Cassie Cage in that trailer?
She was in there very briefly.
Okay. So
you know what's a bummer?
as a character.
Shang Tsung is apparently a DLC character.
Yeah,
So he's been like the pre-order character.
Yeah, for a while.
for a while.
Shang Tsung was like a huge part of Mortal.
Or Shao Kahn. I'm sorry, Shao Kahn's.
I'm talking about Shang Tsung.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Shang Tsung's part of like the battle pass or whatever.
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the season pass.
Shao
like-
Kahn is like the pre-order
Yeah,
character.
but the cool thing about Shang Tsung this time around, it's the actor from the '95 Mortal Kombat
Shut
film.
the fuck up.
It is.
It is.
It's him.
Your soul is mine.
Yes,
That guy.
that's so good. I love that.
It's the only saving
You know
grace
what?
of that film.
As cheesy as that movie was, like that had some pretty cool visual set design and stuff.
I mean,
For the time, it was
for the time, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
The pit was so cool. In that
Dude,
movie.
I watched that movie recently and was like, man, I don't remember it being this budget.
You know what's,
Like,
you know what's even worse? Try watching Mortal Kombat Annihilation
dude, that.
recently.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Annihilation. Oh my
That
god.
is
Yeah.
trash fire.
Okay. Yeah, they're all bad. But yeah, I'm actually kind of getting hyped for Mortal Kombat 11.
Yes. Let's have some matches, man.
I'm gonna do a come on, come on for the week to Randy Pitchford. Like, you're a ridiculous, gross human being. Just come on, come on, man.
Hire a proper hype.
Come on, Gearbox. Come on. And my absolute hardline fuck you of the week goes to Zack Snyder. He can jump up his own ass.
oh,
and
what
down.
he
Batman
did thing?
Oh my god! I read that
heard
whole
about this.
thing. I watched the video of him talking, and I've been following it on Twitter. Like everybody,
He
like
was
all
trying
the
to convince people
all
that
the fucking
they're just not accepting the fact that Batman kills people.
Yeah, no. His whole thing is that if you're doing a movie about Batman, you have he's like, what he said was like, oh, it's cool that like you have such an innocent view of your heroes, but that like your hero didn't betray your trust, or your hero didn't embezzle money from his company, or your hero didn't do this or that. But like, if you believe Batman isn't killing people, you're living in a dream world. And it's like, my dude, we're talking about comic book superheroes here. Like, that is the dream world. That's the last safe space of whimsy and fantasy and joy. And you just want to come in and piss on all of it because it's the only thing you understand. It's the only way you know how to process the world. And it's like, I fucking hate that guy. I fucking hate that guy. And I'm not even saying that he's a bad director, okay? He's got a very specific vision, and he takes some really crazy risks to make those visions happen. But, like, his beliefs, like, the core principles that drive him are garbage. Like, Why did Warner Brothers hand this guy the keys to the DC cinematic universe?
He made
like,
money.
what? Like,
because he made some money.
He's on his way out, right?
Yeah, because 300 made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was a good crispy rant. Thank you. All right. You good?
Garbage.
All right. My 4-player minute starts now. My hype is for the Revival Club, for Devil May Cry 3. I don't know why, like, I'm just super excited about this concept. I've wanted to get it off the ground for so long, and it just turns out that Discord was like a really great way to get more people involved in doing it. And I'm hoping it's going to lead to like playing some new stuff that, like, some of the things that were being voted for this first episode were things like the Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. I've never touched, but I was like, I'd play that. That looks cool. Suikoden 2 was on there. Again, another game I wanted to play for a super long time. And Ace Combat was up there. And I'm still excited about playing Ace Combat. So who knows? I'm hoping maybe some of those come back around and get picks for a future episode. Whatever it is, like, just the idea of knowing that every few months I'll be playing something, either replaying something that I've enjoyed or trying something that I've never played before, is a cool, exciting thing, and being able to talk to the community about it while we're doing it is fun. So I'm excited to do that. Devil May Cry 3 starts on April 1st, and I'm looking forward to popping that back in because I haven't played that in like a decade. My sweat goes to E3. I mentioned it, or Chris Davis mentioned it earlier. We got our airfare today. It's going to be a small team this year, literally just me and Chris Davis. I was on the fence about even going for the longest time because it just seems like a lot of people are pulling out, and I know, get it out, laugh, Sony was always a big driving force between why I got so excited for going to E3, and knowing that they're not going to be there in an official capacity is kind of a bummer. But I started thinking about things like CD Projekt Red. They said this is going to be the biggest E3 they've ever had.
Yes.
I started thinking,
that's good.
Yeah, and I started thinking just about like Microsoft knowing that they have this opportunity to like really pull out all the stops. Like, give me a reason to be excited about having an Xbox. I have an Xbox. Make me excited. Like, there's a lot of potential here, and not to mention there's all sorts of developers who will be there who are showing off games that will have games that will be on PlayStation. They're just, Sony is not there showing off their first party stuff. So I'm excited.
This could be a console announcement year.
It could be. You never know. And I always look forward to going to LA. I look forward to the food. I look forward to seeing Chai Tai. I look forward to all that stuff. So
yeah, if we get bored on the floor, we can go to Doghouse.
Yeah, that's
or worst Koosh.
Did you say Doghouse?
We went to like a place called Doghouse one time.
Oh, that was a while ago.
What was that?
That was probably hot dogs.
Or
sausage.
I think.
Oh, right. Okay. Cool. But yeah, we're definitely going to Verskoosh.
Oh, we can
sure.
go get Korean barbecue.
We can, for sure. And my thank you of the week goes to the community, support from the community. One, for just in general, thank you guys very much for supporting us in all the different ways that you do. But also, last night I was super stuck and frustrated on Sekiro, and like getting like that to that level of like frustration. Like, if I don't walk away, I'm gonna throw my controller and I'm gonna regret it. That kind of thing. And I would, like, when I got to that point, I put the controller down, I popped into Discord and was like, dude, what the fuck? In the Sekiro channel, and people were just like, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Have you thought about this? Nobody was being like a dick. Like,
why would anyone be
I know,
a dick?
I'm just saying,
everyone
like,
in our Discord is delightful.
I know, everybody in
Yeah.
our Discord's great. I'm just saying, like, it's great to have a community you can go to talk about these things you're frustrated about, and have people like support and like talk you through shit. And not, like, you go to Twitter and do that shit. Half the ones you get are sincere, half the replies you get are just people being dicks. So I like having having the Discord, having the community kind of at our fingertips and being able to go in there. And it's great. I like it. So thank you guys to the community. And fuck you to Sony for
pulling out.
Just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that.
Cool.
All right, guys, thank you very much for listening tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. I want to remind everybody, again, the announcement we made at the top of the show about kind of the way we're changing our thinking about streaming might have some implications about when you see us stream and whatnot. Hopefully it's nothing crazy, but, it's something that we'd like you guys to be aware of. So if you want, we have a statement up on 4playernetwork.com. Go read it. Go check it out. It kind of gives you an idea of where we're coming from and why we're doing this. But we think it'll be better for us as a group. We think it'll be better for the shows, for our morale and that kind of thing. So we hope you guys understand. But check that out. If you want to support us on Patreon, go to patreon.com/4player. If you want to join our Discord, it's absolutely free. You can find us at discord.gg/4player. And
leave us a review on iTunes.
Yeah,
and,
I don't say that very often.
Share the podcast with your friends.
I don't say that very often anymore. But yes, if you like the show, take a moment to leave us a review on iTunes. We appreciate it. We used to push that shit all the time. We used to be at the top of the charts all the time. We just kind of got away from pushing it. But hey,
take tonight's episode when it's available. Take it to your friends and say, "Hey,
do you like
talking about hotboxing?"
They talked about hotboxing for like an hour.
Do I have the podcast for you?
Hey, also don't forget to smash that like button
and ring that bell.
S Nova just popped in the chat right as we're closing out the show to say, "Is 4PP still a thing?" ?
Damn.
Yes, we are.
That hurts.
Anyways.
Smash those bananas.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We will be back next week. Brad will be back next week, I'm sure, and we'll be talking about more Sekiro and whatever else we're going to be talking about. Probably all kinds of stuff. So, thanks for listening. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.